Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
The protagonist of this book is both good and evil, and he does whatever he wants. The villain is destined to be a villain who doesn't lick women and pushes them all the way. Yanjing City, Longting Hotel. Chen Beiyuan, you worked hard to please me and pursue me in Donghua University. Do you think I don't know your purpose? Isn't it just for my body? You are despicable. Tonight, I will fulfill your wish. After tonight, you and I have nothing to do with each other. I will treat it as if I was bitten by a dog. The cold school beauty Leng Ruobing's eyes were frosty, and she looked coldly at the perfect man with a gentle smile in front of her, with a bit of gritted teeth, as if she was mentally prepared for something. Although she acted very calmly, it could be seen from the roots of her ears that had already turned red and the undulating waves. Her heart was not as peaceful as she imagined. At this moment, the noble man in front of her still maintained a gentle smile on his face, with the unique affinity and majesty of a superior, as well as a special affinity, but something suddenly appeared deep in his eyes. An almost imperceptible trance. Did I transmigrate? This is a weird world with a body refining system and an invasion of ferocious beasts and alien races. My current identity is Chen Beiyuan, the sole heir of the Chen family, the top family in the Donghua Empire. The woman with an abnormal brain in front of me seems to be the daughter of a second-rate family in Yanjing City. Her name seems to be Leng Ruobing. Wait a minute, Chen Beiyuan? Leng Ruobing? Why do you feel so inexplicably familiar? It sounds like the Urban Green, cool novel I read before called Urban Medical God Xiao. The Chen family of the Donghua Empire. Chen Beiyuan. I became the destined villain and warm-hearted dog licker who has tasted all the heroines in the urban novels. The woman in front of me is Leng Ruobing, the first heroine of the original work. The stunning school beauty of Donghua University, one of the four beauties of Yanjing. Chen Beiyuan quickly digested the huge memory in his mind, suppressing the shock and dismay in his heart, without showing the slightest clue on his face. As a bookworm with more than 10 years of reading experience, Chen Beiyuan has read thousands of novels and routines, and there are very few things that can shock him. But at this moment, he almost couldn't hold back the turmoil in his heart because of Transmigrate's special status. Because his transmigrated identity is too special. The sole heir of the Donghua Chen family. At the same time, in this urban cool novel, the Destiny villain once surpassed Son of Fortune in popularity. In this urban refreshing article, Urban Medical God Xiao. The Donghua Chen family is one of the top aristocratic families in the Donghua Empire, and they are a terrifying existence that is separated from the country. What is a noble family? He has endured hardships for several lifetimes, but still sits high in the clouds, holding the power in his hand and overlooking the changing winds and dynasties. As the saying goes, a dynasty with flowing water is a family with iron foundation. This sentence has been handed down almost from ancient times to the present day. The terror of the Donghua Chen family can naturally be imagined. Chen Beiyuan's grandfather was one of the strongest warriors in the Donghua Empire. He had an 8th grade war emperor cultivation and commanded millions of troops. He was responsible for guarding the borders of the empire to guard against the invasion of ferocious beasts and alien races. It is the backbone of the country that can be called the white jade pillar holding up the sky and the purple golden beam across the sea. Chen Beiyuan's father is a military boss of the Donghua Empire. He has the peak cultivation level of the 7th grade war emperor and is one of the top combat forces in the empire. He controls the garrison in a place which can be said to be extremely powerful and full of talents all over the world. His mother was the legitimate daughter of a hidden family with a mysterious identity. After marrying into the Qin family of Donghua, she established the military-industrial and commercial empire, Longting, responsible for providing weapons and equipment to the imperial military. At the same time, Longting is also one of the top 10 arms dealer groups in the world. As soon as the children of the Donghua Chen family reach adulthood, they will basically join the military in various places and hold important positions. Under this situation, it can be said that the Donghuachen family almost holds the largest gun in the Donghua Empire and is the strongest external weapon. If the Donghua Empire is compared to a giant, then the Donghuachen family is the giant's thigh. Moreover, it is still the thickest one. With such a terrifying background, Chen Beiyuan, the young head of the Chen family of Donghua, can almost be said to be one of the top second-generation powerful people in the world. What's even more frightening is that Chen Beiyuan, the destined villain talent, is even more terrifying. He had a vision when he was just born and is praised by countless top experts as being born with the talents of the great emperor. It is even very possible to reach the top of the legendary realm of the god of war. With such a terrifying background and the blessing of talent, it is natural to imagine how terrifying Chen Beiyuan, the destined villain, is. What's even more shocking is that in the original work, the character of the destiny villain is not as vindictive as ordinary villains. He is narrow-minded, even broad-minded, has a gentle personality, never bullies the weak, and never does anything to intimidate others. Things are like a humble gentleman. With a great background, powerful strength, gentle personality, extraordinary conversation, and outstanding appearance, this is simply a perfect villain template. In fact, he is so perfect that he doesn't look like a villain. In comparison, in the original Son of Fortune, Lin Xiao, who came with his own template of a miracle doctor, was once overshadowed by Chen Beiyuan, the fateful villain. It can be said that Chen Beiyuan is almost a big villain boss who is born with a sense of oppression and makes the protagonist even breathless. Even the first heroine in front of him, the cool school beauty Leng Ruobing, except for her good looks and aloof and cold personality, was almost turned into a scum in an instant. The Leng family, the second-rate family behind the original heroine, is no different from a nouveau riche in the eyes of the behemoth Donghuachen family. If it weren't for the fact that the original person was interested in Leng Ruobing's aloof and cold character, he might not even have given the Leng family a second glance. Neither side is of equal magnitude. In the original work, according to Chen Beiyuan's identity and background, if he really wanted to, he could have Leng Ruobing appear in his room at any time that night, and the Leng family, the second-rate family behind him, would not have any inconvenience, opinions, and may even be happy to see this happen. However, Chen Beiyuan, the destined villain, did not choose to do this, but wanted to conquer Leng Ruobing with his own charm. Even though the family behind Leng Ruobing has used his tiger skin to do a lot of things over the years, he didn't say much. As a villain, do you have such a high moral bottom line? As the saying goes, lick the dog, lick the dog, lick it until the end, and you will have nothing. Blindly affectionate, but in the end it will be more splashing than dirt. Wait, something is wrong. The original owner is not a licker at all. He did it on purpose. He is actually practicing with Leng Ruobing. Chen Beiyuan's complexion suddenly changed slightly, and shock seemed to flash through the depths of his eyes. After transmigrating, he naturally received all of Chen Beiyuan's memories and learned some important information that was not described in the original work. The reason why the original owner fell in love with Leng Ruobing was simply because he had practiced a special magic skill and wanted to imitate the ancient demonic cultivator. Using love as an opportunity, he killed a woman to achieve enlightenment at a critical moment and reach the top. I see. No wonder in the original work, the original owner was so special to Leng Ruobing and even went overboard with it. This is the reason. What a destiny villain. He is really cruel and ruthless. If I hadn't received all the memories, I'm afraid I would have been misled by the information in the original work. However, according to the plot of the original work, the original owner should have failed, and even suffered a backlash, which led to him really falling in love with the heroine Leng Ruobing. Chen Beiyuan felt a little sad at this moment. If he guessed correctly, the reason why the original owner, the destined villain, failed was most likely due to the interference of the heroine's halo and the protagonist's halo. Otherwise, he would not have been defeated so miserably. After all, divine ability lost to Tianqiu and fate? Chen Beiyuan seemed to have a gentle smile, but he stirred up a storm, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Now that he is here, how could he let such a thing happen? Ding! An unknown change in the host's fate line has been detected, and the Defying the Heavens and Changing Fate system has started. Ding! The purpose of the Defying the Heavens and Changing Fate system is to change the host's original fate line and ultimately achieve the effect of defying the heavens and changing fate. As long as the host successfully changes its own fate or changes the fate of important people, it will receive generous rewards from the system. Ding! The Properties panel has been opened. Host: Chen Beiyuan. Age: 18. Cultivation: 4th grade of warrior. Exercise: prison suppressing magic scripture, 8th grade. Combat skills: forbidden demon destroying flame palm, forbidden demon destroying hellfist, forbidden demon destroying blood / prison suppressing shackles. Fighting spirit: fate, destiny villain. Defying the heavens and changing fate system. Chen Beiyuan was startled, then recovered as before. Now that he has transmigrated, it is not too bizarre for another system to appear. It is normal and standard. However, if this is the case, then some of his original plans can be changed. At this moment, he who is familiar with the original work already knows the plot point he is in at this moment. Who would have thought that the cool school beauty who had always been lukewarm to him would actually take the initiative to invite him, the destined villain, to a 5-star hotel in the middle of the night, and even come to his door to give him free money? Can you believe it? What's even more outrageous is that Chen Beiyuan, who transmigrated here, also knew that a certain son of fortune Lin Xiao was behind this incident. As the son of fortune, Lin Xiao would actually choose to give away his daughter, his beloved woman, and she would give it away to him as the destined villain. Can you believe it? This wave of operations is very explosive if you look at the entire internet writing circle. When Chen Beiyuan first read the original novel, he was shocked. Is this an Urban Cool article? Okay, author, this is how you understand it. Wait, according to the next plot, it seems to be him. That's no problem. The plot at this time should be the plot point of the Donghua University competition in the early stages. Donghua Academy is the first academic institution in the Donghua Empire. It has a profound foundation and has gathered almost the entire Donghua Empire's geniuses. It specializes in providing various talents for the upper echelons of the empire. Even major aristocratic families cannot underestimate it. This competition is because the Secret Realm, a ferocious beast controlled by Donghua Academy, is about to collapse due to the collapse of spirit qi. It has only the last chance to enter, so the senior leaders of the academy took it out as a reward for this academy competition. There is a dragon blood pool in the secret realm of that ferocious beast. It contains a drop of blood essence of an 8th-grade ferocious beast, the evil dragon emperor. It can strengthen the physical body of the cultivator and nourish the fighting spirit. If you are lucky, you can even it is also possible to understand the divine ability contained in the dragon's blood. Even the children of those aristocratic families will be moved by such a good thing. Lin Xiao, the original son of fortune, relied on this opportunity in the early stage to induce the dragon's blood-body tempering, cultivate the fighting spirit, and in one fell swoop comprehend the powerful beast's divine ability, starting the road to rise. In this competition, Lin Xiao suddenly emerged, suddenly upset, and became a dark horse. With his own strength, he defeated many children from aristocratic families and reached the finals. However, at this moment, there is another obstacle standing in the way of Lin Xiao's rise, and that is me as the destiny villain. In the original work, Lin Xiao was not sure that he could beat me in the finals tomorrow, but he was afraid of missing this opportunity, so he worked hard and persuaded the heroine Leng Ruobing to give her first time, but in fact, Leng Ruobing has already planted a special toxin in his body, which can silently destroy the cultivation level of those who are attacked. In the original work, Lin Xiao finally succeeded in defeating Chen Beiyuan, the destined villain, and humiliated him. Although after the incident, Chen Beiyuan, who was the destined villain, returned to his family to retreat for 7 days, broke, and then stood up, restored his previous cultivation, and made further progress. But there was a crack in his previous invincible heart, which led to a drastic change in his temperament. The subsequent plot is about the feud between Chen Beiyuan, the destined villain, and son of fortune Lin Xiao. In the end, Lin Xiao, by uniting with another powerful family, secretly colluded with the ferocious beasts on the border of the empire, and scheming against the Donghuachen family, destroyed it. Recalling the plot of the original work in his mind, Chen Beiyuan's seemingly calm black eyes seemed to have a cold light surging deep in them with a strange killing intent. At that time, when he saw the protagonist of the original work, Chen Beiyuan thought it was quite interesting and novel. But now, when he transmigrated and became the villain of destiny, and his position changed, he no longer had such thoughts. In the original work, son of fortune Lin Xiao is the protagonist with his own miracle doctor, template, and unlike other protagonists, Lin Xiao is extremely good at forbearance and disguise, and is a heroic figure. From the fact that in order to get the chance to rise, he did not hesitate to use his woman as a bargaining chip, and he did not hesitate to cuckold himself to achieve his goal, we can see the horror of his character. This is a protagonist who knows how to advance and retreat, knows how to assess the situation, puts interests first, and has no bottom line. At a critical moment, he can even kneel down and kowtow to beg for mercy, just to survive. In order to destroy the Chen family of Donghua and to eliminate Chen Beiyuan, a serious nuisance, he even dared to betray the country and collude with the ferocious beasts and aliens. How could he keep this kind of scourge behind? He must be killed as soon as possible. He didn't want to make the same mistake as his original self and end up with a tragic ending. On the surface, Chen Beiyuan had an unpredictable and gentle smile, but deep inside, he was full of thoughts, and countless dark thoughts were rising like waves. Leng Ruobing's emotions deep inside her heart were extremely complicated at the moment, and even her breathing was a little quick. She never dreamed that Lin Xiao would let herself do such a thing. At first, because of Chen Beiyuan, there were gradually more rumors around her. Many people secretly said that she was the canary raised by Chen Beiyuan, saying that everything she has now is because of Chen Beiyuan. It is undeniable that she has indeed taken hundreds of millions of resources from Chen Beiyuan over the years, and the Leng family often uses the Donghuachen family name, but these are all given voluntarily and tacitly by Chen Beiyuan. Not her initiative. Leng Ruobing was determined to get rid of such false rumors and prove that everything she had today was achieved by herself, so her attitude towards Chen Beiyuan became more and more cold and distant. At this moment, Lin Xiao, an unknown civilian student in Donghua Academy, came into her sight. Compared with Chen Beiyuan, who was born as a favored son and has a great background, she undoubtedly has a better impression of Lin Xiao, who was born as a commoner and has made it step by step through his own efforts to enter the first university in the Donghua Empire. More importantly, she was surprised to discover the secret hidden in Lin Xiao. This person's talent would never be inferior to that of Chen Beiyuan. If he were not limited by his birth and family background, he would be another person with the qualifications of the great emperor. Unparalleled genius. However, with just some good feelings, she would not make the decision to devote herself to him at this moment. The real reason was that her mother contracted a strange disease and suddenly fell into a coma. Even after searching countless famous doctors, they were unable to do anything. At this moment, Lin Xiao appeared, claiming to have seen such strange diseases and could cure them. Through an acupuncture treatment, Leng Ruobing's mother briefly woke up. He already had a good impression, and because of his mother, Leng Ruobing's favor for Lin Xiao undoubtedly soared significantly, and he even began to be tempted. But Lin Xiao's next move made her heart instantly hit rock bottom. "Ruobing, help me. This opportunity is very important to me. As long as I can successfully win the competition and get the final reward, I will be able to make up for my biggest flaw and go one step further. Leng Ruobing, I made an appointment with Chen Beiyuan to the hotel in your name. If you drink this bottle of medicine after tonight and tomorrow, Chen Beiyuan will be a useless person. Leng Ruobing, I know you hate Chen Beiyuan. Don't worry, when the time comes, I will pay back the shame of these years for you one by one. Believe me, I am sincere to you and I will marry you. Thinking of the scene where Lin Xiao begged and handed over the poison just now, Leng Ruobing felt cold and confused in her heart. Nowadays, the comatose mother has to rely on Lin Xiao to wake up. She doesn't have much choice at all. He said he wouldn't mind and would marry me. Leng Ruobing murmured secretly. Leng Ruobing knew very well and even understood why Lin Xiao had such thoughts. In a sense, she was the most aware of the terror of the man in front of her who always had a gentle smile on his face, like a humble gentleman. As soon as he was born, he was accompanied by terrifying visions, indicating that he was extraordinary. 3-year-old body tempering, breakthrough first-grade fighter. 5-year-old chi accumulation, breaking through the second-grade division. At the age of 8, he attracted spirits and broke through to the 3rd-grade fighting spirit. At the age of 12, he gathered his fighting spirit and became a 4th-grade warrior. Such a terrifying breakthrough speed can be said to have astonished many top experts, and they concluded that this boy has the qualifications to be a great emperor. In less than 10 years, he will be able to defeat all the strong men of the younger generation and take the lead. Within 100 years, the Donghuachen family may be able to produce another 8th-grade war emperor who can suppress a country's luck. There is even hope of sprinting towards the illusory 9th-grade god of war realm. At that time, the top powerful families in the entire Donghua Empire almost broke the door of the Donghuachen family and wanted to marry into the Donghuachen family. Even the first university in the Donghua Empire extended an olive branch to Chen Beiyuan and was directly admitted to the hospital. That year, the name Chen Beiyuan was almost on the minds of the entire younger generation of the Donghua Empire. However, after the age of 12, Chen Beiyuan chose to suppress his realm and no longer break through. Instead, he continued to polish his own foundation and his own state of mind. Such wanton behavior caused quite a stir at the time, causing many people to call him crazy and self-destructive. Even within the Donghuachen family, there were some bad voices. You must know that if he follows this talent, Chen Beiyuan is very likely to break through the 5th-grade war marshal at the age of 18, transforming his general-level fighting spirit into a Hansen-level fighting spirit. For 6 years, Chen Beiyuan still remained at the beginning of the warrior level without making any progress. And just when the outside world began to question Chen Beiyuan's self-degradation and mediocrity, the next thing happened that slapped everyone in the face. A crack in the void suddenly appeared near Donghua Academy, revealing an unstable beast's secret realm, and many terrifying beasts escaped. At that time, a 5th-grade ferocious beast, the violent blood dragon, happened to appear in Donghua Academy, preparing to attack the students. It just so happened that among the students at that time, there were Chen Beiyuan, Leng Ruobing, Lin Xiao. At the critical moment, Chen Beiyuan took action. This is also Chen Beiyuan's only performance in public. With just one punch and one palm, he directly crossed a huge realm and killed the violent blood dragon. As a 4th-grade warrior, he easily killed the 5th-grade beast. Such a record was shocking. The scales on the 5th-grade ferocious beast's violent blood dragon that could withstand heavy thermal weapons were as fragile as white paper and were easily torn into pieces. The strong skull was instantly beaten into a puddle of minced meat. What's even more terrifying is that from beginning to end, Chen Beiyuan never showed his fighting spirit. This means that he didn't try his best at all. At that moment, all doubts became so ridiculous. The name Chen Beiyuan once again appeared in the hearts of countless people, like a majestic mountain, pressing on their hearts. No one knows how terrifying this monster's true strength is, having been silent for 6 years, suppressing his cultivation for 6 years, and never breaking through to a higher realm. When he releases the shackles that imprison him on his body and is no longer silent, he will burst out with earth-shaking power. Nobody knows. Even Lin Xiao, who is the son of destiny, chose to avoid his sharp edge when he was about to face the monster Chen Beiyuan, unwilling to confront him head-on, but hoped to use some despicable means. Although Leng Ruobing had great confidence in Lin Xiao, a civilian genius, deep down in her heart, she obviously did not think that Lin Xiao could defeat the monster Chen Beiyuan head-on. After all, the treatment and resources they have enjoyed since childhood are not at the same level. At this moment, Leng Ruobing frowned slightly. Looking at Chen Beiyuan, who seemed to be in a daze and had not moved for a long time, there seemed to be some inexplicable anger on his cold face. "What? You still want me to take the initiative? At this time, you still want to pretend to be a hypocrite of yours? Isn't what is about to happen now what you have always wanted? Chen Beiyuan, you really make me feel sick." Perhaps it was Chen Beiyuan's tolerant attitude towards her over the years that caused her to get used to a bad attitude in front of this man who was regarded as a monster by the outside world. In addition, her mother's sudden and strange illness during this period, and what was about to happen next, made her inner dislike for Chen Beiyuan reach its peak. However, she didn't know that the man in front of her at this moment was no longer the warm man licking the dog she was familiar with before. Looking at the cool school beauty who stood tall in front of him, as if giving alms to beggars on the roadside, the gentle smile on Chen Beiyuan's face became more intense, and his calm eyes were like looking at a clown, and he couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough, sometimes, if you give too much face, the pheasants on the roadside will think of themselves as phoenixes. Chen Beiyuan, what did you say? Leng Ruobing's eyes widened, and she looked at the man in front of her in disbelief. She seemed to be deeply hurt by the vicious words, and she couldn't help but curse. The grievance in her heart coupled with the anger, instantly welling up in his heart, he subconsciously raised his hand and slapped the man in front of him. Snapped. A loud slap. Before Leng Ruobing could make a move, she was slapped to the ground by Chen Beiyuan. The right side of her pink and white face instantly swelled up, her shawl spread out, and her messy hair fell in front of her face, covering her eyes in disbelief. How can it be? This damn licking dog actually hit her. Chen Beiyuan ignored the cold and resentful eyes on the ground, took out a silk scarf from his pocket and wiped his right hand. The gentle smile on his face remained unchanged, but his calm eyes gradually turned cold. "I really want to know who gave you the courage to attack me. You wouldn't think that your current status and the Leng family behind you can reach this point because of your own efforts. A fox wearing tiger skin will not become a real tiger. What's more, that tiger Zheng put the skin on you. If that slap just hits you, you and the family behind you will be wiped out in an instant. People can't always recognize their own place. While saying that you hate my existence. At the same time, you wantonly enjoy the halo I gave you. You think you are superior to others. Are you cheap? The canary imprisoned in the birdcage occasionally gets angry, and I can laugh it off. But if it can't recognize its position all the time, then the countdown to the end of this game has come. Chen Beiyuan is not the warm man who licks the dog in the original work. He has some special feelings for Leng Ruobing. He is not used to it. Dare to cause trouble in front of him? I'll give you a slap first to see if you still dare to go crazy. Impossible, impossible. You are not Chen Beiyuan. Who exactly are you? Leng Ruobing, who was covering his face, looked blankly at Chen Beiyuan, who had cold eyes in front of him, as if he was a different person, and felt an inexplicable chill coming to his heart. At this moment, she actually saw the ultimate indifference and strangeness from the extremely familiar man in front of her, as if he was a different person. Chen Beiyuan was not surprised by Leng Ruobing's performance. After all, the personality he displayed at this moment was very different from his original character. Leng Ruobing had been licked by her original body for so many years, so she would definitely notice something was wrong immediately. This kind of thing can be big or small. But so what? Blind disguise is destined to be covered up with more lies. In this case, it is better to strike first. Being familiar with the plot of the original work, he knew very well that the path chosen by the original person was doomed to failure. If this was the case, he would naturally not continue on this path. He has his own way. Now that he has come to this world with the body refining system and ferocious beasts and alien races, which is infinitely more exciting than his previous life, wouldn't it be a pity if he didn't leave something behind? From this moment on, he is Chen Beiyuan. Leng Ruobing, you disappoint me so much. Chen Beiyuan reached out and grasped Leng Ruobing's chin. The strong force made a look of pain appear on her face. Even a dog should have feelings after being raised for so many years. The resources and status I have given you over the years are enough. The Leng family behind you is fighting against the Dong-Chen family. I have also made a lot of money with my banner, and it has grown step by step until now. I ask myself, I have never done anything wrong to you. You actually want to harm me because of an outsider? It seems that because of the habit of sucking blood over the years, he still wants to die. I don't know. What are you talking about? Leng Ruobing's pupils shrank, her face turned pale, her delicate body trembled, and her undulating chest indicated her inner unrest. How could he know? How could he know? Impossible. Only he and Lin Xiao knew about this matter, and it was only decided an hour ago. How could Chen Beiyuan know? He must have deceived her. However, Chen Beiyuan's next words completely froze her expression. Hey, at this time, you are still stubborn? You underestimate me and the Dong-Chen family too much. The entire Donghua Empire can only be counted in 2 palms by a family that can be named as an empire in front of its family name. Every one of them is a behemoth that supports this empire. The horror of the family is beyond your imagination. There is nothing in Yanjing City that I don't know about. I know every word and every expression that you and Lin Xiao said an hour ago. Chen Beiyuan's right fingertips exerted a little force and immediately left red marks on Leng Ruobing's pink and white skin. A painful expression appeared on that cold and aloof face, and his eyes were full of fear. Leng Ruobing never dreamed that her conversation with Lin Xiao would be quietly known to Chen Beiyuan, and even the scene at that time was clearly known. A creeping feeling of fear suddenly appeared in her heart. At this moment, she felt that every move she made over the years was being watched secretly by a pair of invisible eyes, and there was no secret at all. She opened her mouth, trying to make a sound, but she couldn't even say a word. Seeing Leng Ruobing's frightened expression from the bottom of his heart, Chen Beiyuan's eyes flashed with a smile. Having read the plot of the original work, he can almost be said to have a god's perspective. The details he knows can scare people to death, even if he throws them out at will. However, this is not enough. We must add fuel to the fire. To be honest, I was actually attracted to a guy like you in the first place. I didn't have any brains at all. How could I let a man willingly sacrifice myself after just a few words of deception? How could I be moved by that? Don't even think about it. If you really succeed tonight, what will be the consequences? The young head of the Chen family in Donghua has become a useless person. I am afraid that the entire Yanjing city, no, the entire empire will be shaken, and even the millions of troops stationed at the border will be rioted. Can you bear the consequences? Do you know that you are touching the lifeblood of a top family and the future of a top family? At that time, you and the Leng family behind you will die without a burial place, and your parents and your clan will experience the most brutal purgatory torture in the world. Come on, tell me now, what do you have to rely on to face the anger of the Dong-Chen family? Chen Beiyuan looked directly at Leng Ruobing and spoke calmly. The invisible pressure was like a surging wave swallowing Leng Ruobing bit by bit, making it difficult for her to breathe. Leng Ruobing's frightened eyes gradually became dull and absent-minded. In his mind, there seemed to be scenes of swords and swords, shouting and killing, his unconscious mother being penetrated through the chest by a sharp blade, his father being decapitated, and the entire Leng family being destroyed. It wasn't until this moment that she realized the seriousness of the matter. All along, what she relied on was Chen Beiyuan's love for her. But after she personally destroyed her biggest reliance, how should she face the raging anger of the behemoth Dong-Chen family? Is it because of Lin Xiao? Give me a break. How could Lin Xiao, who was alone and had no background, fight against the Chen family of Donghua? That was a top family with the luck of suppressing the 8th Grade War Emperor. Everything seems to be trapped in an endless loop, without any chance of life. Is it possible that she can still reach an understanding with the person involved? To keep the family alive? Isn't this nonsense? Do you think you were filming an idol drama? You deposed the young head of the family, and can you still be forgiven? You are joking. You wouldn't even dare to write a novel like this. However, Chen Beiyuan knew that this kind of thing really happened. In the original work, Lin Xiao, who was the son of fortune, successfully pretended to be cool at Donghua University and humiliated Chen Beiyuan. Then he decisively chose to be a coward and hide. Let Leng Ruobing and the Leng family behind him bear the anger of the Donghua Chen family. In order to find a way out for her family, Leng Ruobing knelt in front of the Chen family gate in Donghua for 7 days and nights. Then, she was taken to Chen Beiyuan's room and knelt for 3 days and 3 nights. Then, the matter is solved. The original person actually forgave Leng Ruobing and let go of the Leng family. This incident caused a great deal of trouble at the time. The Donghua Chen family's face was almost completely lost. Even Chen Beiyuan, who was transmigrated at this moment, couldn't help but want to tell the original person, "You deserve to die at the hands of a woman. Licking a dog will lead to a bad death." Of course, Chen Beiyuan knew very well that he was afraid that the original person whose invincibility was broken at that time had been interfered by the protagonist's halo, causing him to really fall in love with Leng Ruobing. He really changed from a destined villain to a dog licker. However, at this moment, he is not the warm-hearted man-licking dog that he was originally, and he has no special feelings for Leng Ruobing. To put it bluntly, with his current status, what kind of woman can't he find? Do you have to find something like this? You can play it. Forget the rest. If it weren't for Leng Ruobing's identity as the heroine, she would still have some value. Based on what he had done before, Chen Beiyuan would not hesitate to twist off her head and kick it with a ball. Seeing that Leng Ruobing's face was dull, his eyes were blank, he was so frightened that he couldn't speak clearly. He no longer had the arrogant attitude he had just before, and looked like he had been spoiled. A smile appeared on Chen Beiyuan's lips, and a feeling of comfort emerged in his heart. This is what you should do as a destiny villain. The heroine? In his eyes, it's nothing more than a plaything. At this moment, he was like a devil playing with people's hearts. Looking at the frightened and confused woman in front of him, he loosened the fingers holding her chin, slapped Leng Ruobing's face with neither light nor heavy, and said meaningfully, "As a human being, you need to grow your brains to avoid being betrayed by others and foolishly selling them for money. Think carefully about when you met Lin Xiao, when your mother suddenly fell ill and fell into a coma, and how Lin Xiao happened to have superb medical skills and knew how to treat this weird disease." As Chen Beiyuan's words fell, Leng Ruobing, who was already in a mess, felt that he was struck by lightning and went blank. An inexplicable heartache and suffocation suddenly surged into his heart, and his delicate facial features showed an incredible expression. "Look. Impossible, impossible." Leng Ruobing knelt on the spot in a daze, as if her energy had been drained away, and murmured to herself. At this moment, she seemed to have been spoiled, her defense completely broken. Ding! Congratulations to the host for changing the original fate line, successfully avoiding the ending of having his cultivation level abolished, and using special verbal means to break the heroine Leng Ruobing's mind and develop hidden hostility and resentment towards Son of Fortune Lin Xiao, indirectly weakening some of Son of Fortune Lin Xiao's luck and future support. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward, Xuanxin Dao Fruit. Xuanxin Dao Fruit. The Xuanxin Dao tree blooms once in 500 years and bears fruit once in 1,000 years. It contains a certain power of Taoyuan, which can help practitioners accumulate knowledge and break through their own realm at critical moments. A silver fruit containing mysterious scriptures suddenly appeared in the system's built-in storage space. Chen Beiyuan looked at Xuanxin Dao fruit lying quietly in the storage space, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. It's just the right time. According to the original plan, it will take at least half a year to complete the accumulation and break through the original realm. However, tomorrow will be the first confrontation with Son of Fortune Lin Xiao, and Chen Beiyuan will naturally not underestimate him. After all, who knows if something like Son of Fortune will suddenly explode in popularity? Sometimes, it's better to play it safe. With this item, I can give a big surprise to a certain Son of Fortune tomorrow. However, before that, there is one more thing to deal with. Chen Beiyuan glanced at Leng Ruobing, who looked suspicious of life at his feet and looked ruined, and said in a calm tone, "Kneel down." In the Longting Hotel, at the entrance of an alley, there was a figure hiding in the shadows, staring at a room with lights on somewhere, as if waiting for something. This person is none other than Lin Xiao, the protagonist of Urban Medical God Xiao Lu. In order to ensure nothing went wrong, he followed Leng Ruobing and watched her walk into the hotel room, and then watched Chen Beiyuan go in. Soon, after seeing the lights in the hotel room completely turned off and the curtains closed, Lin Xiao had a twisted and ferocious expression on his face. The nails of his clenched hands almost pierced into the flesh and blood, and his teeth were almost broken. However, deep down in his heart, he was secretly relieved. Tonight, it's settled. Chen Beiyuan, I want you to pay for the shame tonight with your blood tomorrow. Lin Zhao's chest was heaving, his breathing was rapid, his teeth were clenched, and he looked at the Longting Hotel in front of him with fierce eyes, his murderous intention towards Chen Beiyuan growing deeper in his heart. If it wasn't for tomorrow's college competition, then why would he take such a trick? Coming from a humble background, one has to risk everything and use any means to achieve a higher position and higher power. The resources of this world have long been monopolized by wealthy families. If he wants to go further, he has to do his best. If he had a family background like Chen Beiyuan's, why would he let his beloved woman do such a thing? It was undeniable that he did have some intentions towards the Lang family and wanted to annex them, so he secretly used some tricks, but he was also really attracted to this woman Leng Ruobing. However, for the sake of each other's future, he could only make some sacrifices. After remaining silent for a while, Lin Xiao seemed to have a trace of confusion on his face. He flashed and wanted to make a final decision. But before he got close to the Longting Hotel, he suddenly felt a creepy feeling. The alarm bell in his heart rang. He paused and quickly dived into the shadows, motionless. At some point, the streets near the Longting Hotel quietly began to fill with pedestrians and street vendors, vaguely surrounding the entire Longting Hotel, as tight as an iron bucket. Among them, the aura of some vendors made Lin Xiao, who was hiding in the shadows, feel terrible pressure. Damn it! Hiding in the dark, gnashing his teeth and cursing in his heart, Lin Xiao knew that he was afraid that he would not be able to get close. These people nearby are probably vicious dogs raised by the Donghua Chen family, specially used to protect their masters. Every move touches the hearts of countless people. This is the influence of a top family. As the heir to a top family, it would be really nonsense if there is no one around to protect him. And once he approaches rashly, it will probably cause a chain reaction. By then, he will be the one in trouble. At this moment, he seemed to be only one street away from Longting Hotel, but in fact, he was as far away as the end of the world and difficult to get close to. Such an encounter made the anger in his heart boil even more, and his hatred for the wealthy family became more intense. But deep in those angry eyes, there was also a trace of uncontrollable yearning. While hating the evil dragon, Lin Xiao also didn't want to become it. The next day, Donghua Academy. As the #1 university in the empire, Donghua University has always been the most desirable, sacred land in the eyes of countless Donghua people. Since the establishment of Donghua Academy, many famous and powerful figures have emerged. This is the gathering place for countless young prodigy throughout the empire, and it is the cradle of the empire's future strong men. It can be said that as long as you can enter the school and successfully graduate, it is almost equivalent to getting a heavenly scroll, and your future achievements will be beyond imagination. However, there are very few people who can successfully graduate from Donghua University. Most of them end up bleakly in the face of the cruel reality. If you want to enter Donghua Academy, the minimum standard is to break through to the second grade combat master before the age of 18, or to have special skills such as pill refining, artifact refining, etc. Then, after enrolling, students who break through to the third grade fighting spirit within 5 years can continue to study and enter the inner courtyard of the academy to be trained as key students of Donghua Academy. The rest who fail to meet the standards will all be dismissed. Those who can break through to the fourth grade within 10 years can apply for graduation from the school, understand graduation tasks of different difficulties, and finally obtain a letter of recommendation from the school. Graduates can use their invitation letters to work in various departments of the empire. This is a real ladder to heavenly rank. How many common people, prodigies, and students from poor families have successfully defying the heavens and changing fate and reached the pinnacle of life through this heavenly rank ladder? The school competition, held every 5 years by Donghua University, is an opportunity for countless students to become famous. The generous rewards are enough to make countless students from the academy salivate. Especially in this year's academy competition, the top management of the school took out a secret realm that was on the verge of collapse as the championship reward for this competition. It is said that the Vicious Beast secret realm contains the legacy of a certain high-level vicious beast. Once it can be obtained, it can be completely transformed. Therefore, this school competition almost caused many potential students to come out and compete for one or two. Among them, there are even many students who were born in wealthy families and have already reached the graduation requirements and entered the fourth grade. In the past, in Donghua Academy, the children of wealthy families relied on the resources and family support behind them to almost dominate the ordinary students from poor families. In the past academic competitions, almost all the children of those families took the top 3, and there were very few poor families. Students can squeeze in. However, a dark horse emerged in this year's college competition. A civilian student who was usually unknown and very low-key suddenly appeared and showed the terrifying strength of the fourth grade warrior. He passed 6 levels, killed 6 generals, and defeated all opponents abruptly. Among them, there are even some children from aristocratic families with terrifying backgrounds who made it all the way to the finals. In the inner courtyard of the academy, there is a martial arts platform. Lin Xiao, who was dressed in a simple black robe, was holding his hands and closing his eyes, nurturing spirit, enjoying the gaze of countless eyes. Even the senior officials of the university on the high platform frequently cast their eyes with approval and admiration. The Donghua students on the audience stage were talking a lot at this moment. Fourth grade general. Who is this Lin Xiao? He was unknown before, but now he is a blockbuster. Hiss, I have an impression of this person. 5 years ago, he barely reached the standard of a second grade combat master. He almost entered Donghua Academy at the threshold. In just 5 years, he introduced his spirit into his body and condensed his fighting spirit. Breakthrough General, he is probably only 21 years old now. Fourth grade general, you have already met the graduation standards of Donghua Academy. If you can get a letter of recommendation from Donghua Academy, you can go to various departments of the empire to join the army. If you join the army, you will start as a major. With such a talent potential, even the children of aristocratic families in the same class cannot compare to him. Some students from poor families couldn't help but sigh at this moment, and the companions around them couldn't help but nod. Obviously, the sudden rise of Lin Xiao, a Donghua student with a civilian background, made many students with ordinary backgrounds in the entire academy feel honored. However, someone next to him poured a bucket of cold water on it. A frog in a well is not worth trying. Lin Xiao is nothing more than that in front of that person. You know, that person was the fourth grade general 6 years ago. At that time, he was only 12 or 12 years old. The fourth grade general, such a terrifying talent, can probably be ranked among the top 10 in the history of the entire Donghua Empire. It is undeniable that Lin Zhao's talent is indeed good, but compared to that one, it is still far behind. Both parties are not on the same level from beginning to end. Lin Zhao passed 5 levels and killed 6 generals all the way from the academy competition. He just got a chance to face that guy head-on. People must always be self-aware. A Donghua student wearing gorgeous clothes and obviously coming from a wealthy family ignored the ugly faces of the people around him and sneered. Even a student from a poor family wanted to open his mouth to refute, but he opened his mouth and didn't know what to say. Because what this person said is true. At the beginning of the school competition, one person was predetermined and entered the finals directly without participating in any selection. And no one has the slightest objection. That person is Chen Beiyuan. 5 years ago, Chen Beiyuan was specially admitted to Donghua University. At that time, he was already a 4th-grade general. In the same year, Chen Beiyuan killed the 5th-grade ferocious beast violent blood dragon that escaped from the secret realm with 1 punch and 1 palm, and became a legend in Donghua Academy. The senior officials of Donghua University have high hopes for this Chen Beiyuan and want to get close to him. However, in the past 5 years, Chen Beiyuan has only appeared in Donghua University a handful of times. Occasionally, he still comes to see Leng Ruobing. It is said that many high-level university officials are secretly dissatisfied with Chen Beiyuan, thinking that Chen Beiyuan does not want to get close to them. Zanwatai. Lin Zhao, who had closed his eyes and nurturing spirit, also heard the noise and content of the audience stage at this moment. He slowly opened his sharp eyes and looked towards the audience stage. Obviously, a certain name in the audience caused his reaction. Until I saw a cool figure sitting in the front seat of the auditorium. Only then did the solemnity and fear in his heart ease. Last night, Lin Zhao never left, but stayed in a dark corner all night. It wasn't until dawn the next morning when he saw Leng Ruobing staggering out of the gate of Longting Hotel with a haggard and dull look on his face, his eyes dazed, and obvious red and swollen palm marks on his face, that he knew his plan was successful. He will definitely win today's school competition. Chen Beiyuan, no matter how evil you are, as long as you are poisoned by my poison of illusion, you will not be able to keep your cultivation. After today, you will be a useless person, and I will step on your head and move towards a higher place. Peak. Ruobing, I will make him pay a heavy price for the humiliation Chen Beiyuan gave you last night. Looking at the audience who has been silent and cold in a daze, Lin Zhao's murderous intention towards Chen Beiyuan became more and more intense, and he could hardly hold it in anymore. However, as time passed, Chen Beiyuan never appeared. There is not much time left before the end. There was a commotion among the people in the audience, and even the top university officials on the podium began to frown. At this moment, a loud exclamation suddenly appeared, attracting everyone's attention. Tread, tread, tread. A figure exuding a noble and majestic temperament was slowly walking towards the martial arts platform. The visitor is none other than Chen Beiyuan. I'm coming. Chen Beiyuan is here. Hiss, is this the mysterious Chen Beiyuan from Donghua University? He is indeed as handsome as the legend. Haha, that's natural. It is said that one of the 4 beauties in Yanjing is attracted to him. It's a pity that Luohua is ruthless. Chief Chen is only interested in Leng Ruobing, the cold school beauty. Over the years, I heard he was interested in other women. The Leng family is just a second-rate small family. I didn't expect that they could take this opportunity to join the Donghua Chen family and become in-laws with them. I'm afraid it will skyrocket in the future. With the appearance of Chen Beiyuan, the entire Zhongwu district of Donghua Academy was in a state of excitement. Thousands of students from the academy couldn't help but cast their gaze over. Even the senior officials of the school who were sitting on the high platform couldn't help but cast strange glances. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan almost became the focus of the scene, and even Lin Zhao, who had been waiting on the martial arts platform, was directly ignored. Leng Ruobing, who was sitting in the front row of the auditorium, was looking straight at the familiar yet unfamiliar figure. He felt dazed, and the scene from last night appeared in his mind. She used to think that she knew Chen Beiyuan very well, but what happened last night overturned her knowledge. Deep in my memory, that figure who always had a gentle smile and made people feel like spring breeze showed a domineering, cold, noble, and majestic side. At that moment, Leng Ruobing felt that Chen Beiyuan had become very strange. Compared with before, he seemed like two people. The person whom I once thought I was most familiar with and hated the most is now covered in a hazy and mysterious cloak. After all, that is the real you. At this moment, a discordant voice suddenly appeared. Humph, you are ignorant. Is a small Leng family worthy of marrying the Dong-Chen family? Chen Beiyuan has a fiancé. Leng Ruobing's face suddenly turned pale, and his face was full of disbelief. Fiancé? He actually has a fiancé? How could I not know this? The face of the person who spoke next to him suddenly changed, and he felt a great fear enveloped his heart. His face was pale, and he was covered in cold sweat. It was as if he had walked on the edge of hell and almost collapsed on the ground. Just now, Chen Beiyuan on the martial arts platform glanced this way. The originally noisy auditorium fell silent instantly. Battle stage. Chen Beiyuan withdrew his gaze calmly, looked at the suffering, son of fortune Lin Xiao in front of him, and began to look at it. This was the first time he met the protagonist of the original work. This son of fortune has the characteristics of most miracle doctor template protagonists. He has a handsome face, resolute eyes, and an upright look. He wears simple black clothes and looks very low-key. At first glance, almost most people will have a good impression of his positive image. However, Chen Beiyuan knew very well that the Lin Xiao in front of him only looked upright, but in fact he was very sinister and would do whatever it took to gain profit. In the original work, his best method is to rely on his terrifying medical skills to make friends with big figures and powerful forces to build momentum for himself. And sometimes, even if there is no demand, you have to create demand. Even if the target you want to make friends with doesn't have any serious diseases, after being targeted by him, within a few days, the target's family members or relatives and friends will suddenly suffer from serious illnesses. And as a miracle doctor, he will happen to appear, and after some pretense and slaps in the face, people will be convinced, and the target will be grateful to him, wishing to rip out his heart and lungs. Even some big shots, under his manipulation, not only gave away their own daughters, but also the wealth they had accumulated throughout their lives became dowries. This son of fortune is not as righteous as he seems on the surface. The targets he targets will either have their families destroyed or be eaten completely. Of course, on the surface, Lin Xiao has maintained a great and upright image from beginning to end. Even if someone accidentally discovers his true face, he will be quickly silenced. While Chen Beiyuan was sizing up Lin Xiao was also sizing up the lifelong enemy in front of him. For today, he has begun to make too many sacrifices. Chen Beiyuan, don't you know about the final of today's competition? The entire Donghua University classmates, teachers, and senior officials are waiting for you to come alone, and you actually dare to be late. You clearly don't take your division commanders and leaders seriously. Being like you is an unforgivable crime. Lin Xiao suddenly attacked and directly slapped Chen Beiyuan, erecting himself on the moral high ground. As soon as these words came out, the people present nodded, frowned, remained silent, or had different expressions, but they did not intervene verbally. Obviously, Chen Beiyuan's behavior of showing up at the last moment made many people dissatisfied. Last night I felt that the threshold for cultivation was loose. I have been cultivating in my room. I have been busy until now, and it is long overdue. Chen Beiyuan put his hands behind his back and explained in a calm tone. Many people present heard his double entendre explanation, but they didn't think of anything else. Only some people in the special seats in the first row of the auditorium had playful smiles on their faces and looked at Leng Ruobing, who was also in the first row. As the saying goes, there is nothing new in Yanjing City. As for Leng Ruobing's initiative to ask Chen Beiyuan to the hotel last night, some people from wealthy families naturally know everything about it. The so-called cultivation is naturally a bit intriguing. Otherwise, if it weren't for Chen Beiyuan's relationship, why would a woman from a second-rate family sit in the first seat of the audience, on an equal footing with people from wealthy families like them? At this moment, Leng Ruobing could clearly feel the playful gazes next to her, and a strange blush and paleness appeared on her face. Her heart was beating violently, and her hands could not help but clenched a little tighter. You. As a witness, Lin Xiao naturally heard the special meaning in Chen Beiyuan's mouth. There was a strong murderous intention in the depths of his eyes, and his clenched fist also made a click-click sound, and he almost couldn't control his emotional fluctuations. What happened last night? Wouldn't he know? Bullshit training. He was obviously off to repair other things. When he thought of this, Lin Xiao felt a surge of anger rushing straight into Tianlingai, and almost cursed in anger, but there was also an inexplicable taboo excitement surging in his heart. Chen Beiyuan, don't think you can get away with it by using cultivation as an excuse. You have been arrogant once or twice. Who doesn't know your true nature? In the past few years, you have come to the school only a handful of times, and you have hardly taken any courses. And every time you show up, you will deliberately pester Leng Ruobing, making countless students angry and afraid to speak. Today, in front of many classmates, teachers, and leaders, I am going to reveal your true face. Do you dare to bet me that if I win the final today, you will apologize in front of all the teachers and students of the school and admit that you have been this arrogant crime will never be entangled with Leng Ruobing again? Lin Xiao had a hint of ferocity on his face and was a little out of sorts, but he still stood at the highest moral level, tied everyone together, and started his own plan. Seeing Lin Xiao acting like this, many people present felt something was wrong, and some even sensed that there was some grudge between the two. Even the top leaders of the university on the main stage were making some strange commotion at this moment. You know, Chen Beiyuan's strength is obvious to all. Lin Xiao is obviously confident of defeating Chen Beiyuan head-on. Are you worthy of a bet with me? Chen Beiyuan sneered, looking calmly at Lin Xiao in front of him. There was not even a hint of contempt in his eyes, as if he had never taken Lin Xiao into his eyes. Lin Xiao was angry and planned to continue to speak out to anger Chen Beiyuan, but what Chen Beiyuan said next made him feel happy. Forget it, just treat it as a game to pass the time in your spare time. It just so happens that I once had a dog when I was a child. After I finished practicing and was bored, I always liked to play with it. Unfortunately, time is ruthless. When I was 15 years old, it passed away. Now that I think about it, I feel a little better. Think about it. If you lose, just kneel in front of me and learn how to bark 3 times. Although it was a huge insult for Chen Beiyuan to compare himself to a dog, seeing Chen Beiyuan agreeing so easily, Lin Xiao still had a flash of joy in his eyes and a hint of ferocity on his face. You are so arrogant. I hope you can maintain this aloof appearance for a while. He was poisoned by his poison of falsehood last night, and now he is deliberately delaying time to allow the poison to continue to spread. No matter how evil Chen Beiyuan is, it is useless. As long as Chen Beiyuan uses all his strength, the fighting spirit in his body will quickly dissipate, and eventually his entire body will turn into nothingness, and he will become a useless person. The winner of this academy competition is destined to be Lin Xiao. Today is when he steps on Chen Beiyuan's head and reaches the top. When he thought of this, even Lin Xiao couldn't hold back the excitement in his heart. However, at this moment, he did not notice that Leng Ruobing's eyes on him were full of complexity and strangeness. Last night, Chen Beiyuan was really practicing in his room and didn't touch her much. The most I can do is treat her to something to eat. It has to be said that Chen Beiyuan's words last night were effective and successfully provoked Leng Ruobing's hidden hostility towards Lin Xiao. Let's not talk about whether Lin Xiao secretly did something to make her mother fall into a coma. If what happened last night was successful, then Lin Xiao, who got the most benefits, would hide directly, and she and the Leng family behind him would have to bear the rage of the Donghuachen family. By then, the Leng family would probably die without a burial place. It was precisely because of this that Leng Ruobing did not tell Lin Xiao what happened last night, but chose to remain silent and watch coldly. It is undeniable that Leng Ruobing did have some good feelings for Lin Xiao. But Chen Beiyuan's cold tone last night was like a sharp knife, successfully shattering those good feelings. Moreover, Chen Beiyuan also successfully made Leng Ruobing see that Lin Xiao, who seemed to be upright, fair, and fearless of power, also had a selfish and greedy side. More importantly, last night, Chen Beiyuan's domineering side, which was different from before, also gave her a strange feeling. Leng Ruobing took a deep breath, resisting the restlessness and complexity in her heart. The cold and domineering figure involuntarily emerged in her mind, and her body trembled. I was also bewitched by Lin Xiao. Everything was Lin Xiao's fault. Beiyuan obviously knew this. Although he was a little too much last night and made me kneel all night. But I was about to harm him. He didn't have any intention of killing me, nor did he do anything to the Leng family, which means that he still has me in his heart. It's just because of Lin Xiao that he was so angry. He still likes me. At this moment, she, who claimed to have guessed Chen Beiyuan's thoughts, gradually began to become confident again, and the little uneasiness and fear in her heart were gradually suppressed. It must be said that the kindness of the original body to her before was too deep-rooted, making her too confident. This kind of confidence is called, people who are loved are always fearless. Last night, Chen Beiyuan's slap still didn't completely break her mysterious confidence. And with the bet between Chen Beiyuan and Lin Xiao officially concluded, the people in the entire war zone were also noisy and agitated. Obviously, they didn't expect that it would be so big. Oh my god, are you serious? Chen Beiyuan actually agreed? Isn't this normal? Everyone in Donghua Academy knows that Chen Beiyuan likes Leng Ruobing. Lin Xiao dares to openly provoke him and wants to interfere. I'm afraid he will be beaten to death. Hiss, where does Lin Xiao get the courage to provoke Chen Beiyuan like this? Where does he get the confidence? Could it be that he thinks he is invincible after winning a few games? It's true that beauty is a disaster. For Leng Ruobing, Lin Xiao actually has the courage to fight Chen Beiyuan. Now, there will be a good show to watch. Since 5 years ago, Chen Beiyuan has killed the 5th grade beast with a punch and a palm. He has never taken action again. No one knows how strong he will be 5 years later. Today, we can see a little bit. Alas, Lin Xiao was impulsive after all. He was too young and arrogant. Although his combat power was superior, he once surpassed Wei Su, who was born in a noble family and a mid-level general, with his cultivation of the initial level of general, but he was no match for Chen Beiyuan is obviously not enough. But with his strength, he should be able to force out some of Chen Beiyuan's true strength. Alas, because of a woman, 2 promising Donghua students have met each other with swords. Open, bet that Lin Xiao can withstand Chen Beiyuan's moves before being defeated. I bet Chen Beiyuan will beat Lin Xiao to death. For a while, the entire battle zone audience was boiling. A pair of strange eyes focused on the 2 figures on the fighting stage. However, in everyone's opinion, Lin Xiao, the dark horse who suddenly rose, had a pitiful chance of winning against Chen Beiyuan. And at this moment, Leng Ruobing, who was sitting in the first row of the audience, also became the focus of attention. Obviously, in everyone's eyes, the reason why Lin Xiao made such a crazy bet was because of her. Leng Ruobing, who was one of the focus of the audience, felt an inexplicable throbbing at this moment. She found that she somewhat liked the feeling of being in the spotlight. On the martial arts stage, the referee who was responsible for the competition also quickly asked the senior officials of the school who were on the main stage for instructions. Soon, a new referee with a Mediterranean temperament returned to the martial arts arena. Obviously, the senior leaders of the school also agreed to this final battle with the nature of betting. I would like to reiterate the rules of the competition. Friendship comes first, competition comes second. No killing is allowed until the point is reached. As long as one party shouts to admit defeat, the other party must stop. At the critical moment, I will stop it. In this competition, you are not allowed to use magical weapons and rare treasures above 5th grade. You can only use weapons equal to your own cultivation level. The middle-aged referee looked at Chen Beiyuan, who was standing with his hands behind his back, and briefly explained the rules of the game, his expression becoming serious. On his body, the cultivation aura of the 6th grade War King was faintly emerging at this moment. The middle-aged referee who was replaced is obviously much better than the previous 5th grade referee. Obviously, the higher-ups in the school were also worried that the referee who was the 5th grade War Master would not be able to control the situation, so they directly replaced him with a 6th grade War Master. The battle between two 4th grade warriors actually had a 6th grade warrior as the referee. Such high-level treatment is probably very rare. Game start. Boom. A deep bell rang out. This heralds the official start of the finals of the school competition. Chen Beiyuan, everyone thinks that I can't beat you. I'm afraid, even you think the same way. Unfortunately, you are all wrong. You are all wrong. You have no idea how much I have sacrificed for this day. What a price. I want all those who look down on me to know who is the future of the empire. Today is the day when I, Lin Xiao, will become famous in the empire. Lin Xiao, who was dressed in simple black clothes, suddenly laughed crazily, as if he had lost his mind. His eyes showed a ferocious light, like a hungry wolf that had been suppressed for many years, and tore away the sheepskin on his body, completely revealing his true identity. Face. In an instant, under the eyes of countless people in disbelief, he pulled off the simple necklace on his chest. His cultivation level, which was supposed to be just the beginning of a warrior, actually started to skyrocket at this moment, and he no longer tried to hide it. Obviously, that ancient necklace is a rare treasure that can cover up the aura of cultivation. Intermediate warrior. High-level warrior. The peak of the warrior. In an instant, Lin Zhao's aura reached the peak of 4th grade warrior. It's just one step away from becoming the 5th grade War Master. Roar! A behemoth of more than 10 meters suddenly appeared behind Lin Xiao. The huge shadow directly covered most of the entire fighting platform, and the ferocious head bowed down and let out a deep and thick roar. It has jet black scales, a ferocious face like a dragon and a python, and 2 huge beating tumors on its head, as if it is pregnant with something. Its 4 thick claws can easily draw deep cracks on the solid fighting platform. Along with the ferocious roar, a terrifying pressure spread unbridled outward, setting off huge waves. This is clearly Lin Zhao's fighting spirit. A black dragon is about to undergo dragon transformation. For a time, the whole audience was shocked. The entire auditorium instantly became noisy. Even some of the higher-ups of the academy who were on the main platform couldn't help but stand up at this moment, staring at the huge fighting spirit on the fighting platform. Lin Xiao actually hit his cultivation. The peak of a warrior? The peak of a 21-year-old warrior. How is this possible? Being a commoner, without the resources of a wealthy family, he was able to reach the peak of a warrior at the age of 21. He is only one step away from the 5th grade War Master. Such a talent, if it weren't for his poor family background, he would have become a warrior again. A Chen Beiyuan. The Flood Dragon War Spirit? It is such a ferocious beast war spirit. It is one of the strongest beast war spirits under the top war spirit. Once the dragon transformation is successful, it will be the top war spirit, and then it will be the soaring dragon. Yuan, soaring into the sky. The 4th grade war commander's peak cultivation, coupled with the black dragon fighting spirit that is about to undergo dragon transformation, I'm afraid no ordinary 5th grade war commander will be Lin Zhao's opponent. Chen Beiyuan is in trouble now. No one thought that Lin Xiao would hide so deeply. Before, he didn't even show his 3 successes. It seems that today is destined to be a battle between dragons and tigers. It's no wonder that the audience and the top leaders of the university had such a huge reaction. The 21-year-old 4th grade warrior is about to reach his peak. It's not like there is no Donghua Empire. But they are all core members of wealthy families, or they are the next heirs of the family. Each of them has been accumulated step by step by relying on unimaginable terrifying resources since childhood, coupled with their own terrifying talents. But Lin Xiao was born as a commoner. This means that the resources he has access to are too few. To put it bluntly, those dogs raised by wealthy families since they were young eat better than Lin Xiao. He was able to cultivate to such a state mainly because of his own talent. Under such circumstances, Lin Xiao was able to rely on his own efforts to close the gap with the children of wealthy families and stand on the same starting line as them. Such talent is astonishing. What's even more shocking is that Lin Xiao was able to breed a black dragon fighting spirit second only to the top fighting spirits in the Fourth Great War. The body refining system of this world is very special. Not only does it have powerful alien beasts, but it also has war cultivators that are unique to humans. For war cultivators, war spirit is the most important source of power and reliance. Body refining, a first-grade warrior, has the strength to reach great heights and has the power to carry a cauldron. Second-grade war master chi accumulation, birth of war energy, can be blessed on the body or objects and has various mysterious powers. Third-grade war spirits can bring spirits into the body, trigger the special spirituality between heaven and earth, and begin to merge with the fighting spirit and soul in the body, giving rise to various extraordinary special abilities. However, these first three realms are all laying the foundation for the next fourth-grade battle. The fourth-grade warrior soul and fighting spirit are highly integrated. When the spiritual radiance contained in his body reaches its peak, he can awaken his war spirit. War spirit can be said to be the core of a cultivator. Everyone's fighting spirit is different. There are many factors for its birth, including the spiritual strength it inspires, their own talent, and the truest side deep in their hearts. Under the influence of various elements, fighting spirits naturally have levels, which are low-level fighting spirits, mid-level fighting spirits, high-level fighting spirits, top-level fighting spirits. Among war cultivators of the same level, one has awakened a low-level war spirit, Su Kuan Chicken, and the other has awakened a top-level war spirit, Blood Evil Tyrannosaurus. The former's war spirit can only make the war cultivator a little faster, but the latter's war spirit allows the war cultivator to have the power and defense of a giant dragon. Which one is stronger and which one is weaker can naturally be seen at a glance. If he really makes a move, the latter might treat the former as his grandson and beat him to death. Low-quality, war spirits are almost at the bottom of the contempt chain within the same level. However, high-level, war spirits can give war cultivators the ability to fight beyond levels. Most of the practitioners who come from wealthy families can use the help of precious treasures to absorb powerful spirituality with the help of their families. Basically, there will be no failure in awakening. They are all low-level fighting spirits or even mid-level fighting spirits. As for high-level fighting spirits, among the top families in the empire, there are very few people who can awaken high-level fighting spirits. Once discovered, they will be directly included in the core members. In contrast, cultivators from poor families can only rely on their own luck. If they are lucky, they can successfully awaken their fighting souls. If they are not lucky, the spirituality in their bodies is too weak, and even their fighting souls cannot awaken, and they will be stuck for life. Halfway there, it's hard to make progress. The gap between them has been widened from the beginning. Of course, not without defying the heavens and changing fate. If you can get a special opportunity, you can naturally transform your fighting spirit and become a more powerful fighting spirit. Of course, this kind of opportunity to be able to defying the heavens and changing fate can be said to be rare. A Lochuan's dragon transformation? It is natural to imagine how difficult it is. Why did Lin Xiao go crazy and desperately want to win this school competition, even sending his beloved woman to Chen Beiyuan's bed, just for an opportunity to defying the heavens and changing fate? That dragon blood pool containing the essence and blood of the 8th grade ferocious beast, the evil dragon emperor, was really important to him. That dragon blood pool not only allows Lin Xiao to break through his current realm and reach a higher level, but also allows his black dragon fighting spirit to successfully dragon transform and become a top fighting spirit in the true sense. Let him truly keep pace with those monsters in the empire. Which of the heirs cultivated by the big forces in the Donghua Empire does not have a top-notch fighting spirit? The proud daughter of the Bai family of Donghua has the legendary top fighting spirit, Bai Zhe, who is said to be able to know everything about the world and communicate with all things at the first sight, and has the ability to ward off evil and kill monsters. It is said that the martial arts madman from the Donghua Zhu family has awakened the legendary top fighting spirit, Zhu Yan, controls the killing energy, and can transform into a violent beast and tear the enemy into pieces. The high-ranking heir of the Donghua Lin family has awakened the legendary top fighting spirit, Tao Tai, which can swallow everything in the world and turn it into his own nourishment. Donghua Wei family. And Chen Beiyuan in front of me. To be able to be appointed as the young head of the Donghua Chen family and become the next heir, Chen Beiyuan must have awakened the legendary top fighting spirit. Otherwise, how could Chen Beiyuan kill the 5th-grade beast with one punch and one palm 5 years ago? It's a pity that Chen Beiyuan has never revealed his extremely mysterious top fighting spirit to the outside world. There seems to be only a slight difference between high-level fighting spirits and top-notch fighting spirits, but in fact they are worlds apart. Without dragon transformation, he would only be the foil of those monsters in his life. Without dragon transformation, he would only be a second-rate guy in this life. I control my own life. Today is the day that I, Lin Xiao, defy the heavens and changing fate and succeed in dragon transformation. Chen Beiyuan, you will definitely be defeated today. Secret skill, Dragon Climb. The aura on Lin Zhao's body was highly integrated with the terrifying black dragon behind him, erupting with a pressure far beyond that of an ordinary 5th-grade War Master. With a roar, one person and one dragon turned into afterimages, setting off layers of airwaves, and swallowed up Chen Beiyuan in front of him with undisguised murderous intent. Years of forbearance and years of humiliation can finally be completely released at this moment. At this moment, Lin Xiao only felt that his cultivation level was beginning to loosen a little, showing signs of breakthrough. Even his state of mind was undergoing a transformation at this moment. The breath on his body became thicker and deeper at this moment. Boom! At this moment, Lin Xiao burst out with an astonishing killing intent, as if he had transformed into a huge, ancient giant. The huge black dragon seemed to have transformed into a dark dragon sword, unity of man and sword, erupting with a terrifying killing intent. If you don't take action, it's fine. Once you take action, it's a sure kill. The violent killing intent instantly enveloped the entire martial arts platform, and the overwhelming killing intent shocked everyone in the crowd, causing them to scream in exclamation. No one expected that Lin Xiao would explode with such terrifying fighting power at this moment. With such a terrifying offensive, most of the 5th-grade War Masters would have to avoid its edge and would not dare to confront it head-on. An ordinary 5th-grade War Master would probably be killed on the spot. Faced with such a terrifying offensive, can Chen Beiyuan be able to withstand it? Even though many people present have great confidence in Chen Beiyuan. But seeing Lin Xiao burst out with astonishing combat power one after another, even they were a little surprised. Even Leng Ruobing's expression changed slightly at this moment. It was obviously the first time he saw Lin Xiao show his true strength. However, for some reason, there was a hint of worry on her face at this moment. Explode on the spot? It is indeed the standard configuration of the protagonist. Chen Beiyuan's eyes were as dark as the abyss and his expression was as calm as a majestic giant mountain. He still stood there with his hands behind his back. Turning a blind eye to the terrifying murderous intentions and crazy shouts coming from all directions, it was as if everything had been anticipated. In the original plot, when the original person was in a decisive battle with Lin Xiao, just as he was about to take action, his cultivation suddenly disappeared, resulting in a disastrous defeat and being severely humiliated. It's a pity that none of this will happen after he transmigrates over. This time, history is about to be completely rewritten. The corner of his mouth was slightly taunting, but he still did not take back his right hand behind his back. Instead, In full view of everyone, he slowly raised his left hand. He actually wanted to fight the enemy with one hand. Noisy. Under the eyes of a pair of people who couldn't believe it, Chen Beiyuan actually swatted Lin Xiao with his palm as if he was swatting a fly. In an instant, the spirit chi between heaven and earth stirred wildly, as if being pulled by some special energy, forming a huge vortex, easily tearing apart the overwhelming murderous intent. All the light around him began to dim at this moment. Chen Beiyuan, who was standing there with his hands behind his back, instantly became the focus of the scene at this moment. It was just a starting move, but there was such a strange phenomenon. Once the move was actually made, it would be an earth-shattering scene. Seeing such a terrifying vision, Lin Xiao was not frightened at all. Instead, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes, and a sly smile of a successful conspiracy appeared on his face. You have been poisoned by my delusion, and you still dare to use such a powerful combat skill. I'm afraid that before you can actually use it, the cultivation level in your body will dissipate and become useless. This is impossible. The sly smile on Lin Zhao's face instantly froze, and a chill ran through his body. I saw that from the huge spirit chi whirlpool, a terrifying giant palm that was completely black, covered with taboo lines, and filled with raging demonic flames, came out and moved straight towards him to suppress it. Forbidden demon flame palm. This is impossible. How could he still use such a terrible fighting skill? Is the illusory poison useless to him? Or... Lin Zhao's face turned pale, and he looked at the terrifying giant palm filled with surging magic flames in front of him in disbelief. He felt that his thoughts were extremely chaotic and his body could not help but tremble. The forbidden aura filled with the dark and complex palm prints instantly blocked the entire fighting arena, locking his soul tightly, making him feel that he could not retreat. It was obvious that his black dragon fighting soul was not smaller than the terrifying giant palm filled with surging magic flames, but at this moment he inexplicably felt an unprecedented sense of insignificance. It was as if they were not on the same level. It was not that Lin Xiao had not thought about Chen Beiyuan's strength, but he never dreamed that the gap between them would be so big. Just a palm made him feel the threat of death. Roar! The pitch-black flood dragon blocking the front suddenly let out a deafening wail, and the scales on its body broke apart under the terrifying high-temperature pressure, like a bloody loach, and the huge dragon body that gradually became illusory began to crack. With a bang, in the eyes of countless astonished people, the huge black dragon fighting spirit was extinguished by a palm and turned into a little soul light. Puff! The black dragon fighting spirit, that was at the intersection of his life and death, was forcibly shattered, and Lin Xiao was instantly hit by an unprecedented backlash. The blood and spirit in his body surged, and a large amount of blood gushed out of his mouth and nose. His brain was like being hit hard by a huge hammer, and he almost fainted on the spot. But seeing that the terrifying giant palm that had extinguished his fighting spirit and only dimmed a little did not stop, but slapped his head directly. The great fear between life and death and his own protagonist luck instantly made Lin Zhao's weak body surge with a new force, regaining his sanity and shouting without hesitation. "I!" Seeing that Lin Xiao was able to regain his sanity at the critical moment, he wanted to shout, surrender, and escape. Humph. Chen Beiyuan's face turned cold, knowing that it must be the so-called protagonist halo at work, and suddenly snorted coldly, like thunder rolling in the sky, resounding throughout the entire fighting arena. Want to surrender directly and save a dog's life? Have you asked his opinion? Lin Xiao was shocked by the sudden thunder and sound, subconsciously raised his head, looked forward, and suddenly saw a pair of dark eyes covered with evil demonic nature. A ray of evil light pierced his mind like lightning. Boom! Lin Zhao's pupils trembled, and he felt dizzy and his thoughts were pulled into the abyss bit by bit as if he had lost consciousness. He stopped shouting, "I give up," immediately. Not good. The middle-aged referee on the side was ready to stop Lin Xiao the moment he spoke. But Lin Zhao's sudden silence made him stunned and slow down for a moment. Even if he was slow for this moment, he couldn't stop it when he wanted to. Because the terrifying giant palm filled with surging magic flames had already slapped Lin Zhao's head, as if he could see the head explode and brains splatter in the next moment. Everything happened too fast. It was so fast that everyone present had no time to react. No one expected that Lin Zhao, who had just been shouting and jumping up and down, was so weak in front of Chen Beiyuan, like a jumping clown. Or maybe Chen Beiyuan was too strong. Just a light palm could take Lin Zhao's life. Just when Lin Zhao was about to die in front of everyone, a thick, mysterious light suddenly burst out from the body of the confused Lin Zhao and actually blocked the forbidden devil flame palm that was close at hand for a moment. Seeing that there was an unexpected event, Chen Beiyuan's face was neither sad nor happy, but his eyes were a little deeper, as if he had expected it. Sure enough, the protagonist of luck is not that easy to kill. This kind of existence is almost like a cockroach with a strong vitality. It is impossible to step on it to death. Crack! The thick, mysterious light only resisted for a moment and then shattered. But just this moment of effort is enough for people to react. Stop. An old figure wearing a gray robe, obviously angry and frightened, suddenly appeared next to the confused Lin Zhao, grabbed him and blocked him behind him. There was no trace of extra flesh and blood, and the skinny palms grabbed the forbidden demon-destroying flame palm that was slightly dimmed in front of him. A huge coercion as thick as a majestic mountain suddenly burst out. 6th grade. The peak of the War King. Tear it apart. The seemingly skinny palm actually forcibly tore apart the much darker, forbidden demonic flame palm. The explosion caused by the collision turned into a surging air wave. Under a certain force, it actually moved straight forward. Chen Beiyuan swept away. Obviously, while the old figure rescued Lin Zhao, he also intended to give Chen Beiyuan a showdown. Such an obvious behavior can be seen by everyone in the entire Zhongwu district as long as they are not blind. How brave! Seeing that the visitor was so unconcealed of his malice, Chen Beiyuan's face turned completely cold. He didn't even think about retreating. Instead, he took a step forward, ignoring the surging air waves, and turned his palms into fists. The energy and blood in his body exploded, and a domineering fist spirit emerged from his body. Just like the terrifying demon god who suppressed the myriad races in ancient times, he punched out and faced off head-on. Boom! Fists and claws collide. The primitive and pure physical power collided at this moment. The huge roar was like two speeding trains hitting each other at 650 kilometers per hour. The entire martial arts platform instantly erupted into a hurricane, blowing up sand, dust, and gravel, flying into the sky, and countless crack marks spread crazily on the ground. Boom! The battle platform, which was made of special materials and could withstand hundreds of tons of pressure, fell apart in an instant, and the intense pressure almost emptied the surrounding air. What a domineering fist! The expression of the strange old man in gray robes suddenly changed. He felt a wave of terrifying power erupt from his palm, grabbing Lin Zhao's figure and retreating violently, forcing him to take 3 steps back. The old eyes stared in disbelief at the noble and majestic figure in front of him who was forced to take 7 steps back. He stood with his hands behind his back and slowly closed his fists. He felt unbelievable. In the collision of pure power just now on the surface, he was better, but in fact, he was completely defeated. As a peak 6th grade warrior, he was actually knocked back 3 steps by a 4th grade warrior with physical strength. You must know that even if he is old and weak, his strength is not at its peak, and he does not use fighting spirit, fighting skills, fighting spirit, but only uses physical strength. He is still enough to crush Chen Beiyuan. The 4th grade warriors are the right ones. But the reality is exactly the opposite. In terms of physical strength, the two sides were almost evenly matched. What made it even more difficult for him to accept was that from beginning to end, Chen Beiyuan only used his left hand, and his right hand was always behind his back and never made a move. This was undoubtedly equivalent to a big mouth slap on his face. It was so painful. However, he was not the only one who was shocked. At this moment, the students in the audience and the senior officials of the school on the high platform were also shocked by the scene in front of them. Dig, what did I just see? Chen Beiyuan actually dares to confront the enemy with one hand, confronting a 6th grade war king, and he is also a strong man at the peak of the war king. The 6th grade war king's own physical body has been tempered by fighting spirit. Even without using fighting spirit, it can be compared with the divine weapon. Chen Beiyuan can actually cross 2 realms with physical strength to compete with it. Wait a minute, that old man seems to be the weird old man in the logistics department who is responsible for guarding the school supplies, called Old Qiang. Why is he here? Damn it, when I used my credits to exchange for things, he still had a dead look on his face, as if he owed him money. The peak 6th grade king of war, how could this weird old man hide so deep? Wait, something is wrong. Chen Beiyuan seems to have not shown any cultivation from the beginning to the end. It's that old guy. Chen Beiyuan stood with his hands behind his hands, ignoring the disbelieving looks from all directions. He stared at the slightly slovenly old figure in gray robes with gray hair in front of him, and he directly recognized the true identity of the person. Old Qiang, director of the logistics office of Donghua University, one of the top executives of Donghua Academy. However, this person also has another, more special identity. That is the godfather of Luck protagonist Lin Xiao. According to the original plot, this person is childless, lonely, eccentric, highly qualified, and has a special status. He is an old man from Donghua Academy. After Lin Xiao entered Donghua University, he set his sights on Old Qiang, or approached him intentionally or unintentionally, and deliberately showed off his talents in order to ask for advice, and gradually impressed this eccentric old man. He even knelt down and expressed his willingness to recognize him as his godfather and support him until his death. This strange old man was completely impressed. Over the years, the reason why Lin Xiao has been able to improve by leaps and bounds in cultivation is indispensable because of this godfather, who pretended to be a public servant for personal gain, secretly receiving financial support from the school's logistical resources. He can also use the government's money to give it to his godson. Lin Xiao, how are you? Xiang Lao looked at Lin Xiao, who was bleeding from all the orifices in his arms, weak in breath, and extremely miserable, and felt a heartache. F***K, teacher, I can still hold on. Lin Xiao held on and opened his heavy eyelids. Looking at the worried white-haired old man in front of him, he felt warm in his heart. He was about to call out that familiar name, but realized that the situation was not right and quickly changed his words. In Donghua University, the title of so-called godfather and godson cannot be easily exposed, otherwise it will be easy for others to take advantage of it. Seeing Lin Xiao being beaten into such a miserable state, Old Qiang couldn't hold back the anger in his heart at this moment. After many years of companionship, he really regarded Lin Xiao as his own son. Now, my own son has been beaten like this. How could he give up and give up? Chen Beiyuan, you have such a cruel heart. You are also a Donghua student, but you were so cruel to Lin Xiao without caring about your classmates. Do you think that just because you are from a top family and have a great background, you can ignore the academic rules? Wantonly humiliating poor students. This time, if I hadn't taken action in time, wouldn't blood be splattered on the spot? The Donghua Chen family is the top family in the empire and has been favored by the country for generations. To have such a heartless and cold-blooded scum like you, the Donghua Chen family is probably in vain. To be too old to die is to be a thief. Old Qiang confused right and wrong as soon as he opened his mouth, directly placing Lin Xiao in a weak position and forcibly kidnapped all the students from poor families and civilian backgrounds in the school together, and directly wanted to provoke confrontation. This move is not poisonous. Donghua students from rich families and aristocratic families have nothing to do with Donghua students from poor families and civilians. Even if they can be friends, they are very few. The conflict between them has long been settled. Just a tiny spark can intensify conflicts and cause a complete mess. And he also deliberately downplayed his little action just now and placed himself in a righteous position. After this operation, it can be said that the people's hearts are firmly controlled. At this moment, more or less noises began to appear in the audience. Obviously, those words of confusing right and wrong have begun to take effect. Chen Beiyuan's eyes were sharp and he looked at him coldly, taking in everything that happened in front of him. He knew in his heart that old Xiang would probably rely on his old age to show off his skills and point fingers at him while standing on the basis of his status as a high-ranking person in the school. Judge him on the moral high ground. You can even use this to ruin the reputation of the Donghuachen family. The viciousness of his thoughts and the ruthlessness of his actions are truly unimaginable to ordinary people. If it had been anyone else, he would have been led by this old bastard and given a big hat. It's a pity that he found the wrong person. Do you really think that he, the destined villain, is made up of mud? Talking? He's the best at it. What an old dog who confuses right and wrong and talks about benevolence, justice, and morality. What did you say? Old Xiong, who was about to continue to slap Chen Beiyuan out of school and expel Chen Beiyuan from school, was almost angered by the sudden scolding. He looked at Chen Beiyuan fiercely, and the turbulent aura of the 6th grade king of war was instantly revealed, and he wanted to overwhelm others with force. I said you are just an old dog who confuses right and wrong and talks about benevolence, justice, and morality. Chen Beiyuan, however, ignored his pressure and kept his expression unchanged. He took a step forward and faced the ferocious eyes of old Xiong and the looks of surprise, shock, ridicule, or disdain from those around him. He grinned. You said that I was vicious and Lin Xiao was yelling at me to kill him. Why didn't he see you, an old dog, barking when he killed me? Classmate feeling? Did Lin Xiao look like a classmate just now? It's okay for him to be cruel to me and ignore the feelings of his classmates, but it's not okay for me to choose to treat others the way they are treated and to fight back. Is it right that he is weak? If I am strong, I am wrong. How long have you lived to live like a dog? He was clearly not in a hurry, but he dared to invite me to fight and make a bet. He was the one to blame for his current fate. You. Seeing Chen Beiyuan holding his own pressure, opening and closing his mouth like an old dog, old Xiang almost became angry and raised 2 Buddhas to heaven, and the arms holding Lin Xiao were shaking with anger. If he hadn't cared about healing Lin Zhao's injuries, he would have wanted to slap Chen Beiyuan in front of him to death. What the hell are you? As a senior member of the school, you actually confused right and wrong and interfered in the school competition. According to the rules of Donghua University, unless someone from one of the competing parties voluntarily admits defeat, no intervention is allowed. You actually forcibly interfered in the competition before the result was announced. What do you want to do by putting yourself above the rules of the school? After interfering in the competition, you still dare to bully the small with your cultivation, try to do evil to me, and bully the students with your cultivation at the peak of the King of War. You are in vain to be a teacher. Afterwards, you even relied on your elders, used deceptive remarks, intended to arouse students' emotions, confuse right and wrong, and make the matter bigger. Are you really afraid that everyone will think you are a fool? As soon as he finished speaking, the originally noisy auditorium instantly became silent. At this moment, everyone focused on the noble and majestic figure on the fighting platform, who always had his hands on his back, an extraordinary weapon. No one expected that Chen Beiyuan would dare to point at a strong man who was at the peak of the 6th grade war king and curse him loudly. He would act like an old dog when he opened his mouth and would not leave any room for it. You know, a powerful 6th grade war king is enough to support the appearance of a second-rate family. However, Chen Beiyuan was not over yet. He actually took a step forward again and looked coldly at the old dog in front of him. At this moment, his aura actually overwhelmed the opponent, and he shouted loudly, "Old dog, are you worthy of talking about the Donghuachen family? Since the establishment of the Donghua Empire, The Chen family of Donghua has been guarding the borders of the empire for generations, guarding against ferocious beasts and alien races. It has been hundreds of years. Once the children of the Chen family reach adulthood, they all join the army and hold important positions to protect the territory of the empire. The children of the Chen family are killed and injured every year. There are no less than a few hundred people, and there are even more countless people who have been disabled and secretly injured. Over the past hundreds of years, our Donghua Chen family has at least shed enough blood for the empire to dye the empire territory where you stand under your feet red. I, Chen Beiyuan, dare to say in front of all Donghua students and all the top leaders of the university today, the Chen family of Donghua is worthy of the empire. Nowadays, the children of the Chen family are bleeding and sweating on the border to protect their families and the country. You are here to confuse right and wrong, wantonly frame the frontline soldiers, and slander those who silently protect the empire. Old dog, what is your intention? Are you really bullying the sword in my hand? Old dog, are you really trying to harm the sword in my hand? Chen Beiyuan's cold eyes were as cold as lightning, his aura was compelling, and his voice was like thunder, resounding throughout the martial arts platform. At this moment, his momentum overwhelmed the old Xiang in front of him and actually made him speechless. Even the whole place fell into deathly silence. So what if the King of War reaches his peak? A big hat? Chen Beiyuan gave him a bigger hat. Even worse. More importantly, what Chen Beiyuan said is true. The honorary status of the Donghua Chen family today is not false, but forged. Since guarding the border of the empire, the Donghua Chen family has lost countless members of its clan, including 3rd grade war spirits, 4th grade war generals, 5th grade war marshals, 6th grade war kings, and 7th grade war emperors. There is even an 8th grade war emperor. More than 100 years ago, a huge secret realm suddenly appeared on the border of the empire. 2 8th-grade ferocious beasts escaped, charged at the border, and started killing. At the same time, a large-scale wave of ferocious beasts appeared outside the border, and alien races also began to invade. For a time, the entire empire's borders were in complete decay, with corpses strewn everywhere, and the Great Border Wall was trampled by aliens. In an instant, the cities around the border were completely in flames of war. At that time, overseas countries were also watching with eager eyes, intending to take advantage of the chaos to make profits and bring trouble to the Donghua Empire. For a time, the Donghua Empire was in turmoil. There were wolves looking at it from outside, and evil tigers running amok inside, killing each other. At a critical moment, an ancestor of the Donghua Chen family decided to ignite the emperor's soul and use his life as a guide to forcefully kill the 8th-grade beast, Titaniconda. After the other 8th-grade beast, the devourer of the abyss, was severely injured, it escaped back into this super-large secret realm. The absence of these two is the biggest disaster. The senior officials of the Donghua Chen family led the younger generations to reorganize the imperial army, annihilate the beast tide with their own flesh and blood, and drive the invading aliens back outside the border. In that battle, the Donghua Chen family suffered heavy losses. Not only did they lose forever an 8th-grade war emperor who could suppress a country's luck. There are also tens of thousands of Chen family children who have stayed on the border battlefield forever. It can almost be said that it has reached the point of breaking out. At that time, if Chen Beiyuan's grandfather had not broken through the 8th-grade war emperor shortly afterwards and stabilized the situation, the Chen family of Donghua would have fallen from the status of a top family. After the internal troubles were resolved, the eager wolves and leopards overseas saw that there was no profit to be made, so they chose to give up. This is why Chen Beiyuan dared to say, Donghua Chen family is worthy of the empire. Reason. Under such circumstances, if the old dog in front of him dares to use the Donghua Chen family as a raft, how can Chen Beiyuan give up? Do you really think that he, the young master of the Chen family, is dead? Even if this matter is brought to the forefront of the empire, the only one who will suffer is the old dog in front of him. In fact, Even the entire Donghua Academy will be punished by the Empire. There are some words that a mere 6th grade war king can say. At this moment, old Xiong also realized that the situation was not good, and his face became gloomy and livid. On the high platform, the expressions of the senior leaders of the university also changed dramatically, and they were obviously aware of the seriousness of the matter. A middle-aged man with a majestic face and a Chinese character stood up quickly, trying to smooth things over. "I think this is a misunderstanding." Bang! A loud noise suddenly appeared in the audience, directly interrupting the middle-aged man's words. A burly man like an iron tower violently smashed the seat under him and stood up, attracting the attention of countless people. Misunderstanding? At this time, you still have to be tough. Is this how the top management of Donghua Academy works? Who wants to bully Mr. Chen today? I, La Kue, will be the first to refuse. This tower-like man is called Ch.1. His father Kue Mo was a staff officer under Chen Beiyuan's father. Really hardcore Chen family. If he dared to watch the young master of the Chen family being humiliated today, his father could hang him up and beat him to death. Boom. Another seat was smashed to pieces. A young man with a thin body and a cold face also stood up and looked coldly at the senior officials of the school on the high platform. Donghua Academy is so prestigious. It caused such a big incident and you still want to cover it up. Do you really think that everyone present is blind? The cold young man was born in a second-rate family in Donghua Forest City. Behind him, the entire family was vassalized and protected by the Donghua Chen family. As the saying goes, if he dares to watch a king humiliate his ministers to death today, then he and the family behind him will not have to mess around. In contrast, the identity of a Donghua student. No matter not. Boom. Donghua Academy claims to be the #1 academic institution in the empire and is the sacred land in the eyes of the people of the entire empire. From today's perspective, it is just a place where filth and evil are harbored. Another Donghua student stood up and shouted angrily. The family behind this person is also one of the followers of the Donghua Chen family. Boom. Confusing right and wrong, taking revenge, and wantonly slandering, you are in vain as a teacher. How can Donghua Academy tolerate such a person? Are you afraid of misleading others? A Donghua student who was dressed simply and was obviously from a commoner background actually started to protest and said angrily. This man was born in a border city. His grandfather had experienced the disaster of the invasion of ferocious beasts, and his family was finally saved by the children of the Chen family who guarded the border. Otherwise, he would not have come to this world. Boom. Bah. You come out to tell me about the misunderstanding when there is a big incident. Why didn't you come out and say it just now? Do you really think the Chen family is so easy to bully? Then you have to ask the millions of soldiers on the border of the empire if they agree. Boom. The teacher once said, Donghua students can seek help from the school when facing injustice, but what if the injustice comes from the school itself? The student is unknown. Please teach me, sir. In an instant, the entire Zhanwu area erupted in cries, and there were countless people questioning, angrily scolding, speaking righteously, and yelling curses. Its momentum was so huge that it almost overturned the entire Donghua Academy. Even outside Donghua University, impassioned and angry questions could be heard. On the battle stage, old Xiong, who was treating Lin Xiao, suddenly looked ugly. On the main stage, the top leaders of the school are also starting to sit on the wax at this moment. Even the middle-aged man who just spoke, Lu Wenhui, the vice president of Donghua University, his face changed slightly at this moment, and his scalp felt numb. At this moment, he could clearly feel the influence of a top family. At this moment, there were no less than 1,000 Donghua students in the audience, accounting for almost 1/5 of the people. Behind these people are either families affiliated with the Chen family, subordinates of the Chen family in the military, followers of the Chen family, or people who have received favors from the Chen family. There are even students who are influenced by it and speak out for justice. Young people never lack enthusiasm. Who could have imagined that Chen Beiyuan could single-handedly create today's situation? At this point, Donghua Academy is already riding a tiger. Want to continue to protect your own people? Is it possible to clean up these thousands of students together? If it goes wrong, Donghua Academy will probably become a joke to the empire. The reputation of Donghua Academy, the first academy in the empire, and the sacred land, in the eyes of countless people will also plummet. The children of wealthy families sitting in the first row of the auditorium had different expressions on their faces at the moment, their eyes flickering. Listening to the loud noise around them, they looked at Chen Beiyuan on the martial arts platform in silence, not knowing what they were thinking. Obviously, they were also shocked by the Chen family's influence. Among them, the families behind some of them are not weaker than the Donghua Chen family. Ask yourself, if the people on the martial arts stage were replaced by them, would it be possible to recreate the majestic scene at this moment? Leng Ruobing's starry eyes flashed slightly, his face seemed touched, and he looked wordlessly at the noble and majestic figure on the fighting platform. At this moment, she finally understood how terrifying the influence of the Donghua Chen family, a top family, was. And the influence of this heir to a top family was far beyond her imagination. For a moment, the familiar, gentle, and elegant figure in her mind was gradually overshadowed by the domineering and cold figure in front of her. So, is this your true face? Just when Leng Ruobing was filled with emotion and even fascinated by it, an unusual sound next to her suddenly interrupted her thoughts. When she raised her eyes and looked up, she happened to see a fair-skinned boy next to him with his legs crossed and a cynical and arrogant expression on his face. He was about 17 or 18 years old and kicked the table in front of him fiercely. Fly under the fighting platform. Boom! The huge sound and movement instantly attracted everyone's attention. In full view of everyone, the fair-skinned boy with a young, baby-faced face sitting in the first row of the auditorium stood up slowly, with a look of defiance on his face, and looked directly at the top university officials on the main stage. What an eye-opener Donghua University is. At this time, you still don't want to make a decision? Could it be that you still want to be a coward and pretend that nothing happened? Do you still want some face? Are you cheap? I don't believe that Donghua Academy can cover up the empire. As soon as these words came out, the whole audience was shocked. These words could be said to have failed to save face for the senior officials of Donghua Academy. It's almost like pointing at their noses and scolding them. However, what is even more shocking is the identity of the fair-skinned boy. The little demon king of the Donghua Bai family. Beiyuza. Bai family. The top family of the Donghua Empire. A behemoth that is not weaker than the Chen family. And the reason why he spoke up for Chen Beiyuan at this moment was not because of anything else. Just because Chen Beiyuan's fiancée is also named Bai. And coincidentally, it's his sister. On the high platform, Vice Principal Lu Wenhui's expression can no longer be described as ugly. The senior officials of other nearby universities are also starting to get a little bit embarrassed. Bai family. That is a top family that also has an 8th grade war emperor. It is the true top of the empire. To put it bluntly, the thousands of students who just protested may not have as much weight as Beiyuza's words. The gap between them is not of the same level at all. Originally, one Chen family was enough to make the entire Donghua Academy fearful. Now, another Bai family has arrived. At this moment, Lu Wenhui was ready to scold his mother. Don't look at it, he is the vice principal of Donghua University, the 7th grade war emperor, and has a noble status. But in front of these two behemoths, the Chen family and the Bai family, they were nothing. Only the principal of Donghua Academy, who has reached the 8th grade war emperor level, is qualified to negotiate with those top aristocratic families. At this moment, Lu Wenhui looked at old Qiong on the martial arts platform, and he didn't want to worry about it. Donghua Academy has always maintained the principle of neutrality and is responsible for providing talents to various departments of the empire. It never easily becomes enemies with top forces. In addition, it is backed by the imperial royal family, which can be said to be a transcendent status. Even if they are, those top forces will give them a bit of a thumbs down. But now, there is a conflict with two top aristocratic families at once. If Lao Qiang hadn't had a special status, deep qualifications, and a special nepotistic relationship with the principal, he really wouldn't have wanted to care about it. This clearly means roasting him on the fire. But it still doesn't work. I still need to protect it. To be honest, he didn't believe that the principal would really know nothing about the matter. The reason why I haven't shown up yet is because the situation hasn't gotten that bad yet, and it's inconvenient to come forward. Once the principal comes forward, the nature changes. In this case, it can only be handled by him as the vice principal. Lu Wenwei turned his attention to the majestic figure on the fighting stage with his hands behind his back. Perhaps, to untie the bell, one must tie the bell. With the sudden change of situation, Lin Zhao's slightly rosy face turned pale in an instant, and his heart that had been falling picked up again, beating wildly, bang bang bang. Obviously, the situation at this moment has exceeded his imagination. His current biggest reliance, Lao Qiang, may not be able to protect him anymore. He suppressed his trembling and looked at the righteous figures standing up one after another in the audience, speaking and writing, and couldn't help roaring in his heart. Damn. Why are you helping him? Why don't you help me? I am the vulnerable group, and I am the one who should be helped. Is it because I have no power that I deserve this humiliation? You deserve to die. I am not willing to give in. As long as I can survive this disaster, I will definitely reach the top step by step. Today's shame will never happen again. Those who have attained the truth will receive much help, but those who have lost the path will receive little help. Everyone knows how to weigh the pros and cons and knows what choices they will make. The undeveloped luck protagonist is not worth mentioning in front of me, the destined villain. The so-called reliance is just a paper tiger that can be broken by just a handful. Chen Beiyuan put his hands behind his back and took in everyone's emotional changes. He grinned slightly and was not surprised. In some brainless villain stories, when the protagonist's luck is weak in the early stage, he is always able to talk nonsense at critical moments, occupy the moral high ground, point fingers at villains with powerful backgrounds, and wantonly humiliate them to achieve their goals. Even the people around him will unconsciously support the protagonist and ridicule the villain as if they are under a halo of intelligence. And a villain with a Tongtian background will always be worried about this and that, hesitant, and afraid to fight back easily. Is that really possible? Will a villain with a powerful background really be easily bullied? Give me a break. Why should an undeveloped luck protagonist compare with him? More than people? Most of the people present were his people. Comparing power? He is the heir to the top power of the empire. Then connections? The connections of a top family are beyond your imagination. Under such circumstances, how could Lin Xiao make a comeback? Could it be that he just relied on the old dog he recognized as his godfather? Quiet! On the high platform, Vice Principal Lu Wenhui seemed to have made up his mind. He coughed and suppressed the noisy voice. Then he looked at Chen Beiyuan on the martial arts platform and his tone became softer. Chen Beiyuan, Mr. Qiang was indeed excited, a little reckless, and said the wrong thing. Donghua University can make necessary compensation to you and order. Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Chen Beiyuan's ruthless sneer. At this point, I'm still thinking about being with Shini and turning big things into small things. Small things have turned into small things. Is this the #1 academy in the empire? It's truly breathtaking. Chen Beiyuan ignored the stiff-faced Vice Principal Lu Wenwei, looked at the taciturn Lao Qiang in front of him, and said in a calm tone, I want an explanation. Qiang Lao had a gloomy face, snorted coldly, and did not respond. He just held Lin Xiao in his arms and continued to heal. Obviously, he also knew that the situation at this moment was very unfavorable to him and Lin Xiao. Didn't you see that Vice Principal Lu Wenwei is talking softly to Chen Beiyuan right now? Otherwise, with his weird personality, he would have cursed a lot. However, he believed that as long as he was still in Donghua Academy, even if something happened, he would be able to deal with it. No matter how crazy Chen Beiyuan is in front of him, there is nothing he can do about it. The most he can do is show off his authority and satisfy his appetite. After all, he is just a junior. He didn't believe that the Donghua Chen family dared to send strong men to break into Donghua Academy and attack him. Unfortunately, he overestimated himself and underestimated Chen Beiyuan. Very good. I really won't give up until I reach the Yellow River. Seeing this old dog still holding its head, looking disdainful, Chen Beiyuan also smiled and nodded as if he knew what the other person was thinking. The next moment, he walked straight forward with a pair of disbelieving eyes. The right hand that had been carried behind his back slowly dropped down. This unusual move instantly made everyone present feel incredible. Is it possible that he still wants to fight with Mr. Chiang? That's the 6th grade battle king. Chen Beiyuan is just a 4th grade player. Boom! A terrifying and unpredictable aura like an abyss suddenly burst out from Chen Beiyuan's body. The dark purple terrifying demonic energy swept the entire place instantly with a strong sense of depression and trembling coming from the depths of the soul. For a moment, the whole audience was shocked. Even Lu Wenhui, who had the cultivation of 7th grade war emperor, changed his expression at this moment. He felt an inexplicable sense of depression emerging from the depths of his heart, and his face couldn't help but show a look of astonishment. What a weird magical power. Even he can be affected. With the strange demonic energy boiling and surging, Chen Beiyuan finally revealed his cultivation level in front of everyone. Basic warrior level. However, what happened next was beyond everyone's imagination. I saw that every time Chen Beiyuan took a step, his cultivation skyrocketed crazily, and he broke through directly, and the demonic energy in his body became more and more deep and cold. The Xuanxin Dao fruit, obtained from the Defying the Heavens and Changing Fate system, began to take effect after being refined overnight and absorbed during this period. A mysterious feeling and power flowed rapidly through the body instantly. The little accumulation that was originally lacking was completely made up for at this moment. Intermediate Warrior General. High-level Warrior. The peak of the warrior. Basic level of War Master. In an instant, he went from 4th grade warrior to 5th grade warrior. For a moment, the whole place was silent. A pair of disbelieving eyes stared at the noble and majestic figure with the demonic flame surging into the sky, and they felt their mouths were dry for a while. At this moment, everyone realized something. Chen Beiyuan, 6 years ago, was already a 4th grade general. In the past 6 years, he has been suppressing his cultivation. After 6 years of hard training, I have gained a lot. In an instant, he went from 4th grade to 5th grade, from war general to war commander. The 18-year-old 5th grade commander. Such a young 5th grade war master is probably enough to rank among the top 3 in the entire history of the Donghua Empire. Simply a monster. However, Chen Beiyuan smiled calmly at this moment. It's not over yet. The remaining Xuanxin Dao fruit's power in the body was also quickly absorbed at this moment. The realm of 5th grade War Master that had just been broken through was instantly stabilized and perfected again. The next moment, the expressions of everyone present looking at Chen Beiyuan changed from shock to horror. Because he broke through again. Boom. War Master intermediate level. Boom. High-level War Master. Am I dreaming? 18-year-old 5th grade War Master? I must be crazy. Breaking through one step at a time is like stepping on a ladder to the sky. There is no obstacle. In an instant, from 4th grade to 5th grade, I feel like I am watching a mythical story. War Master high level. Everyone present felt that there was a huge wave in their minds, and their eyes were dull, with a hint of horror. What is the concept of going directly from the basic level of War Commander to the high level of War Commander? How many people have practiced hard for many years, gone through countless hardships and faced life and death crises before they could break through the threshold of a small realm. And if you want to break through to a big realm, how many opportunities, how many treasures, how much time are needed, and you don't know what price you have to pay. But Chen Beiyuan actually crossed 5 small realms and 1 big realm in an instant, directly becoming the 4th grade war commander and becoming the 5th grade war commander. What's more, it's only 1 step away from reaching the peak of 5th grade war commander. What many people are unable to do in their lives, for him, it is as easy as breathing and drinking water. Such a shocking breakthrough speed may only appear in some mythical stories. What shocked some interested people even more was that they could not tell what kind of magic skill Chen Beiyuan practiced. There is no such weird magic technique among the top techniques of the Donghua Chen family. Boom! The strange dark purple demonic energy surged instantly, soaring straight into the sky, almost covering the entire sky, and the war zone was plunged directly into darkness. That noble and majestic figure was surrounded by strange demonic energy, like a terrifying demon god who came out of ancient times. A pair of dark purple eyes carried some kind of evil nature, and anyone who looked at them would feel a creeping fear, as if they were in an abyss, falling bit by bit. The prison-suppressing magic scripture, practiced by Chen Beiyuan, is a strange magic scripture that can be cultivated to the 8th grade war emperor. This strange magical scripture was discovered by the ancestors of the Chen family on a stone tablet in the secret realm, a dark place of evil beasts. This weird magic scripture not only comes with a variety of terrifying combat skills and weird divine ability, but the prison-suppressing demonic energy it cultivates also has the weird property of suppressing all things in the world, which can be said to be extremely domineering. According to the ancestors of the Chen family, the power of this strange magic scripture is probably still higher than the family's 8th grade inherited skills. It's a pity that for hundreds of years, no child of the Chen family has been able to cultivate successfully. Even the ancestor of the Chen family, who was the 8th grade war emperor at the time, was unable to succeed in cultivation and believed that this strange magic scripture was not meant for people to practice. After all, this weird magic scripture is too evil. In the end, this strange magical scripture was shelved in a cabinet and no one cared about it. It was not until later that Chen Beiyuan was born, which caused strange phenomena in the world. A bottomless crack opened in the sky, almost alarming the entire 8th grade war emperor warriors in Yanjing City. When the vision of heaven and earth appeared, the mysterious stone tablet that was placed in the Chen family's secret treasury and recorded the strange magic scriptures cracked directly and turned into a magic light that was injected into the body of the newborn Chen Beiyuan. The moment Chen Beiyuan was born, he mastered this strange magical scripture that no one had successfully practiced for hundreds of years. Over the years, Chen Beiyuan rarely made any moves outside, and no one knew that he had mastered such a strange magic scripture. Even within the Chen family, there are only a few people who know about this. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan's dark purple eyes were staring directly at the old man and the young man with dull faces in front of him, seemingly with a bit of chill. Not good. Xiang Lao felt a chill rising from deep within his heart. His originally gloomy and disdainful old face suddenly changed dramatically, and he obviously felt an indescribable threat. As a 6th grade war master, he actually senses a threat from a 5th grade war master. This sounds like a joke. You know, there is a big difference between them. But he felt it firmly. He knows very well that the Chen Beiyuan in front of him must not be treated as an ordinary 5th grade war commander. In this world, there are always some monsters who are naturally powerful, terrifying in combat power, and able to fight beyond the level. For some reason, at this moment, he felt an imperceptible trace of regret. Maybe it's okay to lower your head. Unfortunately, everything is too late. I saw an evil smile on Chen Beiyuan's lips, feeling the strange demonic energy surging in his body. He looked at the old dog in front of him and raised his untouched right hand to make a fist. The fist peak, as crystal clear as white jade, quickly returned, instantly involving the overwhelming, prison-suppressing demonic energy, forming a huge whirlpool of demonic flames. A huge dark purple fist peak emerged from the whirlpool of magic flames. The clearly visible lines seemed to be formed by strange magic lines. With a strange magical power, it fiercely moved towards the old dog in front of it and smashed the half-dead puppy in his arms. Forbidden Demon Hellfist. At the same time, his voice, Hong Zhongdalu, also resounded throughout Donghua Academy and spread to the outside world. Old guy, since you don't give me an explanation, let me give you an explanation. Not good. Qiang Lao's expression suddenly changed drastically, and he wanted to lead Lin Xiao to escape, but he felt that the air flowing around him became extremely serious, and a vague mental wave seemed to lock him, forcing him to retreat. The huge dark purple fist gave him an irresistible feeling. He did not hesitate to throw Lin Xiao, who was weak in his arms, directly towards the back to avoid the ensuing battle. Junior, you underestimate me. Qiang Lao was furious and let out a thundering roar, as if he was completely irritated. As a strong man at the peak of the 6th grade War King, if he is forced to the point of despair by a junior, how can he still handle it? He couldn't believe that after decades of going through hell and fire, he would still be defeated by a young boy. The majestic energy and blood in the body exploded instantly, and the skinny body suddenly swelled and bulged. The muscles were taut, and the age and wrinkles on his face also disappeared, and the handsome appearance of his youth was vaguely visible. A strange dragon-like roar resounded from his body. A monster with muscles all over its body, gray scales, a weird dragon head, a thick python body, and twisted limbs suddenly appeared in front of everyone. This is clearly Qiang Lao's king-level fighting spirit. Intermediate fighting spirit, poisonous python. This is a beast war spirit with powerful toxins and a tiny dragon bloodline in its body. The reason why Mr. Qiang paid so much attention to Lin Xiao was because he saw the hope of dragon transformation in him. It is almost impossible for his mid-level battle spirit Poison Python Jiao to achieve dragon transformation. Even wanting to completely transform into a dragon and advance to a high-level fighting spirit is a luxury. Looking at the noble and majestic figure with the demonic flame surging into the sky, there seemed to be a hint of cruelty in Qiang Lao's eyes, and he was obviously planning to fight tooth and nail. Junior, today I will let you know that the power of the War King cannot be insulted. Snort. Chen Beiyuan snorted coldly, and some forbidden reflection seemed to appear in his dark purple eyes. The moment he came into contact with those dark purple demonic eyes, Qiang Lao actually saw the boundless dark abyss enveloping him instantly, and the words in his mouth stopped abruptly. At this moment, the soul seemed to be frozen. The whole person was stunned in place for a moment, unable to move. The poisonous python behind him also let out a wail of fear at this moment, shivering, as if he had seen some kind of higher-level terrifying existence. Not good. On the high platform, Vice Principal Lu Wenwei instantly noticed something strange about Mr. Qiang and subconsciously wanted to stop him. The moment his thoughts first emerged, he felt a chill rising from the soles of his feet and running straight into his mind. Damn it! He stiffened his head, not daring to move at all, but his eyes glanced sideways unconsciously. I saw an old man with a broken arm appearing in the room at some point, holding a bloody broken knife in his hand, and a pair of white eyes staring straight at him, like a silent warning. Even though he is the 7th grade War King, he can't help but feel numb at the moment. If the other party can touch his back quietly, he can also cut off his head silently. Lu Wenwei squeezed out a bitter smile from his stiff smile, sighed inwardly, and sat back down, not daring to do anything else. Such ferocious evil aura can only be possessed by those lunatics from the Chen family of Donghua who fight against ferocious beasts and alien races on the border front every day. He didn't want to test whether his head was as hard as a ferocious beast. Boom! A shrill howl appeared. The poisonous python was directly hit by the huge dark purple fist peak. Qiang Lao, who was stunned in place with his eyes blank, was awakened by the severe pain in his mind. When he reacted, he saw the dim, huge fist coming towards him to suppress it, and subconsciously raised his arms to resist. No! Boom! The entire martial arts platform instantly collapsed and a huge deep pit was created. Boom! A huge sound resounded throughout the combat area, and the strong wind mixed with gravel dust and mist swept across all directions instantly. The entire ground and auditorium were slightly shaken. A pair of dull, shocked, and incredible eyes were staring blankly at the scene in front of them. The strange dark purple demonic energy and the huge whirlpool of demonic flames that originally covered the sky disappeared without a trace. The dazzling light in the sky shines through the gray dust mist, completely revealing the situation below. I saw that the original indestructible martial arts platform had turned into a huge pit. Looking from the sky, it looked like it had been punched hard by a giant that covered the sky and sun and smashed out a huge fist seal. At this moment, the huge fist mark can still clearly see the subtle lines and the gaps between the fingers. However, in the gap at this moment, there was a figure kneeling on the ground, hunched over and extremely embarrassed. The gray robe was now in tatters, revealing his skinny figure, which no longer had the swollen and strong muscles before. An old face looked ashen, and his cloudy eyes stared blankly at the dark pit, seemingly in disbelief. The empty sleeves hung down on the ground of the pit, and the two skinny arms disappeared without a trace. It was obviously obliterated by the forbidden demon prison fist, just now. Lao Qiang was defeated? I must be dreaming, right? That's a strong man at the peak of the 6th grade battle king. One punch, just one punch, suppressed a 6th grade war king. Such fighting power is simply terrifying. The 6th grade war king, his physical body is already comparable to that of a divine weapon. He can easily withstand ordinary thermal weapons. It is difficult for ordinary 5th grade war masters to break him, but he was killed by force and both arms were destroyed. The battle just now was weird. Mr. Qiang obviously froze suddenly. Chen Beiyuan definitely used some mysterious ability. But what could make a 6th grade war king unable to move at his peak? Could it be some kind of mental attack? No matter what the means, it is a fact that the 5th grade war commander will counterattack the 6th grade war king. At this moment, it was not just the auditorium that was making noise. Even the top leaders of the university on the high platform were in commotion. Many people couldn't help but swallow their saliva at this moment, and some couldn't believe their eyes. Suddenly, an exclamation suddenly sounded, causing a commotion again. Wait a minute, we all seem to have overlooked one thing. Chen Beiyuan never used his fighting spirit from beginning to end. Didn't use the fighting spirit? This means that Chen Beiyuan just did not use his full strength in a real sense. For a moment, everyone couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. Old Qiang never dreamed that he would actually lose. And he still failed so miserably. Without his arms, it can be said that he is almost the same as a disabled person. Unless you can obtain the top treasure that can resurrect the dead, flesh and bones and severed limbs. But a treasure of that level is regarded as a treasure by even the 8th grade war king, and it is simply not something that a useless 6th grade war king like him can obtain. At this moment, he was no longer as arrogant and domineering as he had just been. His face was ashen, like an old dog whose spine had been broken. The punch just now not only interrupted his weird temper, but also tore all his pride to pieces. Tread, tread, tread. Chen Beiyuan had his hands on his back, and his body no longer had the strange devilish aura. He looked like he had first appeared on the scene. He walked up to Mr. Qiang and looked at him condescendingly with dark eyes. That's what I'm telling you. For the sake of Donghua University and that guy, I won't kill you. I'll cut off both of your hands. I'll just take it as a small lesson to avoid you from knowing the heights of the world and relying on your elders. Puff. Qiang Lao suddenly raised his head and looked at Chen Beiyuan in front of him. He felt that his heart was filled with anger. He spurted out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, fainting on the spot. Ding! Congratulations to the host for changing the original fate line. In the early stage of the plot, the important supporting role, Old Qiang, was directly eliminated, which indirectly weakened some of Son of Fortune Lin Zhao's luck and future support. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward, Dragon Blood Dao Fruit. Dragon Blood Dao Fruit. This fruit contains a trace of dragon race essence and blood. It is the supreme saint grade in the eyes of body refining monks. Once taken, the dragon race essence and blood in it can be refined to greatly enhance the physical body. Dragon Blood Dao Fruit. Chen Beiyuan looked at the strange-shaped special fruit covered with red dragon scales in the system storage space and couldn't help but feel happy. This is a rare treasure. In a sense, Dragon Blood Dao Fruit is not for humans to eat, but for dragons to eat. Dragon Blood Dao Fruit is a precious fruit grown by the ancient dragon race who specially used his own essence and blood to water the dragon blood ancient tree. It is specially used to give to his newborn dragon race descendants to help them grow and awaken as quickly as possible. Inherited. Dragon race is a powerful being known for his physical strength. A true pure-blooded dragon race that even the 8th grade war emperor would not want to provoke. Dragon Blood Dao Fruit is a treasure specially given to young dragons to help them pass the growth period as quickly as possible and strengthen their body. For humans, its effect is even more amazing. As the champion of the school competition, the dragon blood pool of the 8th grade Evil Beast Bloody Dragon Emperor will naturally fall into my hands. If you want to maximize the benefits of this Dragon Blood Dao Fruit, you can naturally enter the dragon blood pool and take it while bathing in the dragon blood. When the time comes, you will be able to reap great benefits in terms of physical and mental health through a two-pronged approach. Help me understand the beast's divine ability. Chen Beiyuan's eyes flickered, and he was very satisfied with this reward. And when he looked at Mr. Qiong, who had fainted on the ground, a trace of regret seemed to flash through his gloomy eyes. If possible, he would want to kill the other party. However, he knew very well that this was impossible. Killing people and useless people are two different concepts. If someone dies, things will be in trouble. As one of the top leaders of the academy, if this old dog is really killed, he will really fall out with Donghua Academy. By then, the dragon blood pool of the 8th grade ferocious beast, Blood Evil Dragon Emperor, will probably be drained. More importantly, the principal of Donghua Academy who has never shown up will not agree. In the original work, when Lao Qiang was young, he blocked a gunshot for the mysterious principal of Donghua University, which resulted in a hidden injury and ended his life as the 6th grade war king. It is precisely for this reason that Mr. Qiang was able to become a senior leader of Donghua Academy as a 6th grade war king with a commoner background, and was responsible for the lucrative department of the academy's logistics. This is why Vice Principal Lu Wenhui is extremely dissatisfied with Mr. Qiong, but he still has to carry his guarantor to death. Who made Mr. Qiong have such a life-saving favor for the principal of Donghua University, an 8th grade war emperor? In the original work, after Chen Beiyuan was plotted against by Lin Xiao, his cultivation level was exhausted, and he was severely humiliated, which made the Donghua Chen family furious. In the end, it was Elder Qiong who used the favor he had gained back then to ask the mysterious principal of Donghua University to help withstand the pressure and save Lin Xiao. Later, after Lin Xiao succeeded in dragon transformation and began to rise, he also found precious heaven and earth spiritual objects for Qiong Lao to make up for his hidden wounds and foundation, allowing him to go one step further and break through to the 7th grade war king. It can be said that in the early stages of the original work, Qiong Lao was almost one of the most important people of the protagonist Lin Xiao, who not only blocked many life and death crises for him, but was also the key to his dragon transformation. In the late stage of the plot, when Lin Xiao and Chen Beiyuan were feuding, Mr. Qiong acted as a pawn many times, shouldering the pressure for Lin Xiao. This time, it was because of his reason and the terrifying family background behind him that he was able to get things to this point and directly kill the person. What if it were someone else? Haha, it's long since settled. Seeing that Chen Beiyuan did not kill the unconscious Mr. Qiong, Vice Principal Lu Wenhui secretly breathed a sigh of relief and subconsciously wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. It's good that no one is dead. As long as people are not dead, it has not reached the most serious stage. At least there is still room for both parties. He was really afraid that Chen Beiyuan would kill someone regardless of all costs, and when the time came, it would be his turn to sit on the wax. If a high-ranking member of the university dies, it is a slap in the face, and he will really die without mercy. Donghua Academy, let alone anything else, had to bite the bullet and have a fight with the Donghua Chen family. Otherwise, the reputation that the empire's #1 academic institution has accumulated over the years will be completely ruined. However, things did not come to the worst after all. Even though Qiang Lao had lost both of his hands at this moment, which caused him some trouble in terms of face, at least he still had room for manipulation. Who made him say something he shouldn't have said, and even moved his hands? Are the Donghua Chen family so easy to mess with? Do you really think that the 8th grade war emperor of the Chen family who is on the border front is a fictitious person? The millions of Chen family stationed on the border front, the millions of imperial troops are fake. Qian Zhiqing, the head of Donhua's Chen family, is not only the strongest 7th grade war emperor, but also the actual controller of the empire's 3rd war zone. He is a full-fledged boss of the empire's military with immense power. The children of the Chen family filled all major departments of the imperial military and held important positions. That was a behemoth holding an imperial gun. Normal people, who would fight with the barrel of a gun? A tough guy, right? Vice Principal Lu Wenhui secretly glanced behind him from the corner of his eye, but his sight was in vain. The one-armed old man holding the bloody broken knife and with white eyes disappeared without a trace at some point. Obviously, people are gone. Call! Lu Wenhui finally breathed a sigh of relief. The hanging heart also completely dropped. It will not be easy for anyone with a knife held to their neck. Next, it can finally be over. Lu Wenhui glanced directly at the middle-aged referee who was hiding in the corner and turned into a transparent man, indicating that it was his turn to play. This middle-aged referee, who is well-versed in the ways of the workplace, realized that something was wrong when Chen Beiyuan and Qiang Lao were fist-bumping and tit-for-tat, so he decisively rubbed oil on his soles and hid without even trying to stop him. The first rafter will die first. You only earn a little money a month. What's the name of it? If you get involved between two behemoths for no reason, you will definitely die miserably. No need to involve yourself. Seeing that the situation was clear and stable, and with the old leader winking at him, the middle-aged referee with the Mediterranean hairstyle decisively appeared in front of the audience, with a look of justice on his face. Win. Lose. Score. Points. I declare that the final winner of this academy competition is Chen Beiyuan. Snapped. 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 The middle-aged referee clapped to himself, and the applause seemed particularly strange in the silent scene. Until the main stage, the leaders of the school headed by Vice President Lu Wenhui stood up and applauded. Only sporadic responses appeared in the auditorium and gradually expanded, becoming lively and full of people. The cheers almost turned the entire combat area upside down. There is no doubt that this school competition is definitely the most exciting one in decades. Who would have thought that Chen Beiyuan, a monster, would appear in this academy competition? Not only did he easily defeat the dark horse Lin Xiao, but he also instantly broke through to the high level of 5th grade War Master, suppressed the peak 6th grade warlord with one punch, and almost destroyed this Donghua Academy. His face fell to the ground. Such a wonderful and exciting scene cannot even compare to the Donghua graduate trial that is being held at the same time as the school competition. Those graduates who have studied at Donghua University for 10 years are probably no match for Chen Beiyuan. At this moment, Mr. Qiong, who was lying in the deep pit, vomiting blood and fainted, and a certain lucky protagonist pretending to be dead in the corner were ignored by everyone. Even Leng Ruobing, who was sitting in the first row of the auditorium, didn't even look at Lin Xiao. His eyes kept moving on Chen Beiyuan. This is a real world and people only remember the winners. Beiyuan, congratulations on your victory in the school competition. As a special reward for the school, the secret realm of the 8th grade beast will be opened in 3 days. At that time, you will have 1 day. Lu Wenwei had a kind smile on his face, and even his address became much more cordial. He planned to end this farce as soon as possible and save Donghua University's face as much as possible. Wait, there is one more thing. However, Chen Beiyuan interrupted him abruptly. As soon as his words came out, the entire noisy and chaotic scene instantly became silent, and everyone's eyes subconsciously focused on him. Lu Wenwei's face paused slightly, but there was no trace of offended anger. He still had a smile on his face, with an expression of indifference, which fully demonstrated the magnanimity and tolerance of a big man. At this moment, he had roughly guessed Chen Beiyuan's purpose. I saw that Chen Beiyuan raised his eyes and looked at Lin Xiao, who was lying on the ground pretending to be dead in the far corner, and said in a calm tone, "Lin Xiao, it's time for you to fulfill your previous bet." A bet? At this moment, everyone present remembered that Lin Xiao had a special bet with Chen Beiyuan. If Lin Xiao loses, he will have to kneel in front of Chen Beiyuan in front of everyone and learn how to bark 3 times. At this moment, Lin Xiao, who was lying on the ground pretending to be dead, could clearly feel that everyone in the entire combat zone was focused on him, and his breathing became a little faster. Naturally, he could hear that what Chen Beiyuan said had an irresistible meaning. Obviously, he couldn't escape this level. Sometimes, if you don't want to be decent, someone will help you be decent. He has no choice. Even though the resentment and unwillingness in his heart were biting his internal organs like poisonous snakes, impacting his reason, making him want to die with everyone. But he finally forced himself to open his eyes, clenched his fists, stood up shakily, lowered his head, and limped towards Chen Beiyuan. Unlike other protagonists in Xiao Bai novels, Lin Xiao, the lucky protagonist, has an extremely special trait. He is extremely good at forbearance. How far can he tolerate it? In the original work, in order to defeat Chen Beiyuan, he was able to continuously give the women around him to Chen Beiyuan, his enemy, to enjoy, while he watched helplessly. People in the world give each other a nickname, Song Girl June. Either he is seeing his daughter off, or he is on his way to see her off. At that time, Lin Xiao also had a classic saying, "It doesn't matter to me, I will definitely marry you." Listen. These are human words. There is no way, in the original work, Chen Beiyuan, the destiny villain, will stand up again after every defeat and go one step further, with so much demonic power that he will leave behind Lin Xiao, who is just proud for a while. In order to catch up with Chen Beiyuan, Lin Xiao, who had just been proud for a while, could only scold his mother while training like crazy and looking for resources, while also playing dirty tricks and sending women to trick people. This time, I just asked him to kneel down and be a dog, and he could bear it. Tread. Lin Xiao was not walking fast, and it was obvious that his injuries were still serious. When he limped into the huge pit, he lost his footing and rolled straight down. His skin was cut with blood from the sharp gravel. When he rolled to the bottom of the pit, he lay on the ground. When he raised his head, what he saw was an old man who had lost his arms, was in a miserable state, wore tattered cloths, and exuded a stench. Godfather. Lin Zhao's pupils trembled, he felt in a daze, and even his breathing became a little faster. It was obvious that the scene in front of him had a great impact on him. In his mind, memories of meeting his godfather seemed to come back to him. It is undeniable that he did have the idea of getting close to each other deliberately at first, but after several years of getting along, how could he not have a trace of warmth in his heart? However, he never dreamed that the climb to heaven that he had made for himself through careful planning would fail so miserably. Not only was his godfather deposed, but he himself also suffered such humiliation. After a moment of silence, Lin Xiao tremblingly took off his shirt and covered it on Old Qiang, covering Old Qiang, miserable appearance and preserving his last trace of dignity. Chen Beiyuan, don't you just want to humiliate me in public? Okay. I lost today. I admit defeat, and I am willing to admit defeat. Today's shame will never be forgotten by me, Lin Xiao. Lin Xiaoqiang propped himself up, got up from the ground, and crawled up to Chen Beiyuan like a dog in full view of everyone. Immediately, 3 dog barks were heard. Woof, woof, woof. Lin Xiao raised his head fiercely and looked at Chen Beiyuan, who was standing tall in front of him, as if he wanted to see a trace of pride on his face. However, to his surprise, he only saw calm in Chen Beiyuan. Those gloomy eyes seemed to see directly through him from head to toe, giving him the feeling of being naked in the snow. Lin Zhao's expression changed slightly, and he felt startled, and the hairs on his back stood up. At this time, I still want to put on a show, portray myself as a victim with a tragic color, create an image that is not afraid of power, and win sympathy. You are very smart, but unfortunately, you are too smart. If you put your thoughts on other aspects, how could you end up like you are today? You have to bear the consequences of your own sins. A word of advice to you: conspiracies and intrigues may work for a while, but they won't achieve great things. Chen Beiyuan had his hands behind his back, and his eyes were dark as he looked down at the protagonist of Luck, who was kneeling as a dog at his feet. Suddenly he raised his foot, put it directly on the opponent's head, and stepped on it hard. Boom! Lin Zhao's head was stepped directly into the soil and fell deeply into it. The pain of suffocation made his expression distorted. He wanted to struggle crazily, but the foot on his head was as heavy as a mountain, making him unable to resist. Since you have chosen to be a dog, you must learn to bow your head in front of your master. Chen Beiyuan knew very well that if he hadn't transmigrated and changed the fate of his original body, he would be the one lying on the ground now, being wantonly humiliated. Kindness to the enemy is cruelty to oneself. Empathize with a bastard who wants to harm you? It's not like you have a long head. Soon, Lin Xiao, who was stepped on the ground, gradually stopped resisting violently, as if he had completely accepted his fate. But the clenched fist, the fingertips sinking deeply into the flesh, and the scarlet blood flowing out and soaking the ground, all indicate the unwillingness and forbearance in his heart. Ding! Congratulations to the host for changing his original destiny line. In the finals of the school competition, he stepped on the son of fortune, Lin Xiao, and interrupted his dragon transformation process, causing him to miss major opportunities, and his mentality collapsed. The luck of the protagonist Lin Xiao in Son of Fortune has been seriously weakened. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward, the Wordless Medical Scripture, the only one. Wordless Medical Scripture. Unique. This is a mysterious medical scripture with no recorded words. It contains a variety of strange medical techniques. Because this medical scripture is unique, only those with destiny luck can read it. To the contents of the medical scriptures. Wordless Medical Scripture. It's actually this thing. Chen Beiyuan's expression changed slightly, his pupils shrank, and he stared at the blank scripture book suspended in the system's storage space. Obviously, the system's rewards this time surprised him a little. Isn't this one of Lin Zhao's core skills? At the same time, he is also Lin Zhao's biggest goldfinger. In the cool book, Urban Medical God Xiao Lu, Lin Xiao, who is the son of fortune, has 2 goldfinger, namely Wordless Medical Sutra and Extreme Profundities Dragon Transformation Sutra. The reason why Lin Xiao, who was born as an orphan, was able to rise all the way is because when he was a child, he was accidentally sucked into a mysterious secret realm that was about to be broken. From it, he received the inheritance of a peerless power and obtained these 2 scriptures. Not to mention the Wordless Medical Scripture, Lin Xiao is the son of fortune, the Urban Medical God Xiao Lu, a wonderful medical book, and this mysterious scripture is his greatest source of confidence. There are many mysterious and strange medical techniques hidden in the Wordless Medical Scripture, which can not only be used to heal people, but also to kill people. It can be said that in the original work, Most of the pretense and slap-in-the-face plots revolve around this extremely mysterious, wordless medical classic. And Lin Zhao's other Goldfinger, Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation Sutra, is not simple either. This is a 9th-grade exercise book that directly points to the path of God of War. You know, in this world, God of War is already a legendary realm. All the top skills only stop at 8th grade. Even the prison-suppressing magic scripture, practiced by Chen Beiyuan, is just an 8th-grade technique. If the fact that Lin Zhao possesses 9th-grade skills is exposed, it will cause an uproar in minutes and shock the empire. Even those 8th-grade war emperors who are at the top of the world can't restrain their greed and attack them. And Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation Sutra is worthy of the title of 9th-grade technique in the original work. In the original work, Lin Zhao's cultivation talent is not very powerful and is even very useless. Throughout his life, it is difficult to break through the 4th-grade warrior and condense the fighting spirit. But after practicing the Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation Sutra, he succeeded in defying the heavens and changing fate, embarked on the road of dragon transformation, and improved his cultivation talent to second only to the fateful villain Chen Beiyuan. Then, when he broke through the 4th-grade general, he gathered the high-level fighting spirit, Black Flood Dragon. If the plot of the original work is followed, Lin Zhao will get the opportunity to enter the Dragon Blood Pool after winning the Academy competition, and let his Black Dragon fighting spirit successfully dragon transformation and become a top fighting spirit. At that time, the true power of Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation Sutra will be revealed little by little. In a sense, it is precisely because Lin Zhao's useless talent has dragged down the 9th-grade technique of Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation Sutra. If it had been replaced by a stronger talent, it would have taken off long ago. At this moment, it is unknown whether Lin Zhao, who has been deprived of the opportunity, can dragon transformation. It's a pity that the 9th-grade skills book, Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation Sutra, is now hidden deep in Lin Zhao's soul and cannot be obtained through means. Otherwise, it can be borrowed to read through. In the original work, there was an 8th-grade war emperor who captured Lin Zhao, intending to use spiritual combat skills to induce Lin Zhao to speak the Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation Sutra, but he accidentally touched the taboo in it, and instead suffered a big blow deficit. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan, who had obtained the wordless medical scripture, began to think about Lin Zhao's other Goldfinger technique. Of course, although the Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation Sutra is strong, I have practiced the prison-suppressing demonic sutra, and it is not weak. At present, the strange magical sutra I have cultivated is just a fragment. If I can make up for it, it will be a 9th-grade exercise. Besides, I interrupted Lin Zhao's Dragon Transformation opportunity this time and got the wordless medical scripture. Sooner or later, the Extreme Profundity's Dragon Transformation scripture will not escape my grasp. As Chen Beiyuan's thoughts were spinning, he unconsciously used a little more force under his feet, forcing Lin Zhao's head to step deeper. I saw little blood bubbles emerging from the pit. Lin Zhao's whole body also began to twitch, and he had less air coming in and less air coming out. Seeing that Lin Zhao was about to be trampled to death by himself, Chen Beiyuan slowly let go of his foot. Nowadays, a half-dead son of fortune is still of great use to him. Before the use value is completely squeezed out, a dog's life can still be left. Of course, Chen Beiyuan also knew that Lin Zhao, the son of fortune, was not that easy to kill. There is also some kind of forbidden power hidden in his body which can save his life at critical moments. During the previous fight, the thick khaki light that suddenly appeared was the external manifestation of the forbidden power. Unfortunately, this forbidden power has a fatal flaw. It will only appear when Lin Zhao is on the verge of death. But similar to this moment, when he was beaten half to death, the emergency mechanism of the forbidden power would not be touched. It has to be said that Chen Beiyuan, who knows the plot of the original work, can almost be said to have a god's perspective. He knows Lin Zhao's various trump cards very clearly, and he can be said to be very good at it. Vice Principal Liu, my matter has been resolved. The next matter will be left to the school. Chen Beiyuan raised his eyes and looked at the top leaders of the school headed by Lu Wenhui on the main stage and said calmly. After saying that, he didn't care about the expressions of the school leaders on the stage. He turned his dark eyes and looked at the figures in the audience and said in a high voice, Beiyuan has seen what all the students did just now and will naturally not forget it. If you fail to pass the school test and are about to leave the school, if you don't dislike it, the door of the Chen family will be open for you. As soon as these words came out, the whole place was shaken, and many students' faces were filled with joy and they cheered. Some people were even secretly glad that they had just spoken out for them. Wasn't that just for this? According to the school regulations of Donghua Academy, the admission requirements for students are that they must reach the second grade level before the age of 18. After 5 years of enrollment, you need to advance to the third grade war spirit before you can continue to study. Otherwise, you will be kicked out. After 10 years of enrollment, you need to advance to fourth grade to be able to apply for graduation. The college competition is held every 5 years. In addition to testing the cultivation of the new students in the past 5 years and motivating the new students' fighting spirit, there is also a cruel thing. That is to remove a group of students who have not met the requirements. In the past 5 years, those who have not been promoted to third grade fighting spirit will be forcibly dropped out of school. Among the thousands of students present, at least 1/3 did not meet the requirements. Among them, students from common people and small families account for the majority. Not everyone is like Chen Beiyuan, who regards breaking through the realm as simple as drinking water and breathing. For most people, sometimes, a small realm will keep them in the same place for many years, making them miserable. Donghua Academy, as the #1 academy in the empire, is undoubtedly cruel. Those who can stay here are the gold found in the waves. Those who are slightly worse will be eliminated. Of course, even these students who have been kicked out are precious resources. After all, being able to enter Donghua Academy from all over the empire means that they are one of 100, one of 1,000 talents, but their talent, family background, luck, and other aspects are just a little weak. After these people are eliminated, major external forces and even top aristocratic families will extend olive branches to them and invite them to join as fresh blood. There are thousands of young and powerful second-grade combat masters, and there are even many students who are at the peak of second-grade combat masters. Who wouldn't be envious? This is almost equivalent to a regiment of training troops. Moreover, as long as these eliminated students are trained, it will definitely be no problem to break through to the third-grade battle spirit. Even the fourth-grade warrior is not impossible. Compared with the olive branches offered by other unknown forces from the outside world. Obviously, Chen Beiyuan, who is a classmate, makes many students feel more recognized and friendly. More importantly, with Chen Beiyuan's terrifying talent and future, coupled with the Tongtian family background behind him, there is only a chance that he will become emperor in the future. If I don't hold my thigh like this, how long will it take? As the saying goes, if you learn literature and martial arts, your goods will be with the emperor's family. Since it is to be sold, it is natural to sell it at a good price and in a good place. For a moment, many students present suppressed their excitement and stood up one after another to respond. Since senior brother Chen invites you, junior brother is naturally disrespectful to refuse. Senior brother Chen, I would like to join the Donghua Chen family. Senior brother Chen, junior sister, is from the Yun family in Bincheng and has learned the art of artifact refining since she was a child. Senior brother Chen, I was born in the border area. I have always respected the Chen family's children in Donghua for their heroic deeds in guarding the border and protecting their home and country. It is truly a blessing to be invited here today, and I live up to my youth. In the front row of the auditorium, those students who came from aristocratic families were listening to the chaotic and flattering voices from all directions, but their faces didn't look very good. After Chen Beiyuan's words, Almost 80% to 90% of the students who were about to be expelled were taken away, leaving only some leftovers for them. Why don't you play like this? If you do this, how will they interact with the family behind them? Of course, if you scold your mother, you must scold her, but if they are asked to argue with Chen Beiyuan, then forget it. Don't be a bad person, just like some unlucky guy who had his head stepped on in a pit, half dead. A bunch of cowards. Beiyuan, who was leisurely crossing his legs, looked around at the guys who had killed their parents, curled his lips, and muttered something, which immediately attracted angry glares from the people around him. But after seeing that it was the little demon king of the Bai family, she finally chose not to be familiar with him. Looking at these cowards, Beiyuan sneered disdainfully. His purpose in coming to Donghua University was very simple, just to look after his brother-in-law for his elder sister. He didn't care about other things. Suddenly, he frowned and noticed something. He turned his head and looked to the side, but saw nothing. Leng Ruobing, who was supposed to be sitting aside, left at some point. After recruiting on behalf of the Chen family, Chen Beiyuan was ready to leave. Naturally, someone will be responsible for handling the next thing. When the time comes, it will be up to the family to decide whether these people will be assigned to properties owned by the Chen family or will be assigned to important positions in the military. It's not his turn to worry about this kind of thing. The dragon blood pool of the 8th grade ferocious beast Bloody Dragon Emperor will not be opened for another 3 days. Naturally, he will not continue to stay at Donghua Academy. In contrast, he was more interested in the wordless medical classic in the system space and planned to return to the Chen family first to study it. But when he was about to leave, he was blocked by a cold figure. Surprisingly, it was Leng Ruobing. I saw that the cold and aloof face of this cold and aloof school beauty who had always ignored him and was extremely disgusted with him was now filled with a strange blush and a special charm. Personally, Beiyuan, I have something to tell you. Sorry, I almost forgot about you. Chen Beiyuan directly interrupted what she was going to say next, with a look of sudden realization on his face. After taking care of Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, he almost forgot to take care of Leng Ruobing, the heroine of luck. Last night, I knelt in the room all night. That was not considered punishment. As an accomplice who wanted to harm him, the matter was not over yet. However, there is no need for him to do this kind of thing himself. Someone will do it. At this moment, he only needs to express his attitude. From now on, you and I have nothing to do with each other. You and the Leng family behind you have gained a lot of benefits under the name of the Donghua family over the years, so take care of yourself. Leng Ruobing's blushing face suddenly turned pale, and she stood there blankly, as if she didn't react for a while, and her words of apology were choked in her throat. When she came back to her senses, Chen Beiyuan had already passed by her and walked towards the outside of the school without looking back. The moment she passed by, the slight wind blew her jet-black hair. That once extremely familiar figure showed no nostalgia at all, just like a stranger. Leng Ruobing had imagined a lot about how Chen Beiyuan would forgive herself after she took the initiative to apologize. In the final analysis, she was just bewitched by Lin Xiao, which led her to do some wrong things. Fortunately, there were no too serious consequences in the end. Then, naturally, everything can be treated as if it never happened. But she never dreamed that Chen Beiyuan would leave so decisively and without any nostalgia, as if they were just strangers to each other. Doesn't he like himself? Leng Ruobing, who was in confusion, didn't know why, but there was some unspeakable pain deep in his heart, as if he had lost something. However, Leng Ruobing, who was worried about gains and losses, did not realize the seriousness of the matter. You know, the reason why she has been able to enjoy special treatment at Donghua Academy over the years is that everyone is polite to her, and even the children of wealthy families do not dare to act arrogantly in front of her. The Leng family behind them was just a second-rate family, but they were able to expand wantonly, reap benefits like crazy, do whatever they wanted, and no one dared to mess with them. It's because, behind her, stands Chen Beiyuan. Who is Chen Beiyuan? The young head of the Donghua family. the future head of the Donghuachen family. Prodigy, a boy with the qualifications of a great emperor. With such a behemoth behind him, who would touch its power? With such a layer of tiger skin, everyone must be afraid of it. But now, Chen Beiyuan took the initiative to take away this layer of tiger skin in public. Now, this is big news. Originally, everyone's attention at the scene was focused on Chen Beiyuan, but when he said, "Take care of yourself," to Leng Ruobing, it was like a huge missile that instantly detonated the entire audience. Suddenly, the whole place was silent. When Leng Ruobing reacted, she noticed something strange and felt that the eyes of the people around her gradually changed. The eyes that were awe-inspiring, friendly, flattering before suddenly turned into mocking, disdainful, disgusting, and cold. The rapid transformation from front to back made Leng Ruobing extremely uncomfortable. What was even more difficult for her to accept was the unscrupulous remarks that followed. Haha, I know why Mr. Chen would pay attention to a woman from a small family. It's just for fun. There are many such things in Donghua Academy. If it weren't for young Master Chen, when would it be her turn to be ranked as one of the 4 beauties in Yanjing? It's just a canary imprisoned in a birdcage for people to watch. When the owner gets tired of playing with it, he naturally doesn't want it anymore. She thinks she is aloof and arrogant, but in fact she is nothing. If it weren't for Mr. Chen, who would play with her? She has a cold face every day, as if she owes her money. It's annoying just to look at her. Who the hell is she? Haha, I'm afraid you don't know. She just looks cold, arrogant, and pure. In fact, TSK, I have some gossip. Last night, this woman took the initiative to ask Mr. Chen to the Longting Hotel. Until the next day, limping out. Wow, is this so exciting? You really can't tell a person's face. It turns out that such a cold and arrogant woman is so open in private. Could it be that she didn't take good care of Mr. Chen? Those classmates who respected her very much before seemed to have changed their faces now, and they kept saying bad things about her. Among them, there were even some good sisters who were in the same dormitory with her, played very well with her, and tried to please her in every possible way. The eyes of the children of wealthy families looking at her were no longer as clear as before. Instead, there was a hint of evil, like a wolf that had been unchained. Leng Ruobing felt like she had fallen from heaven to hell, and the good people around her instantly turned into evil people. At this moment, she felt like the sky was falling. The sudden and drastic changes crazily impacted her mind, making her mind feel blank, confused, and difficult to accept. Why are things like this? At this moment, she felt as if she had been abandoned by the whole world. In the first row of the audience, Beiyu's frown eased with his legs crossed, and a hint of joy appeared on his unruly face. He ignored the gossip around him and stood up to leave. By the way, he took out his mobile phone and dialed a familiar number. The phone just beeped and was connected directly. A charming, sexy, and somewhat lazy voice appeared on the other side of the phone. Zaya Baizi, what's the matter? Sister, good news. My brother-in-law probably got tired of playing around and got rid of the canary he raised outside. On the main stage, after watching Chen Beiyuan's figure completely leave, Vice Principal Lu Wenhui secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If this evil star doesn't leave, what happens next will be really difficult for him. He ignored those messy things between men and women. Instead, he looked at the pit below, where 2 miserable figures, an old man and a young man, whose life and death were unknown, were lying together. He sighed, waved his hand, and signaled his men to send Mr. Chiong and Lin Xiao for treatment as soon as possible. At the same time, he looked at the luxury car driving away outside the school with a hint of complexity. The matter is so big, I'm afraid that within the next day, the entire Yanjing city, no, the entire empire will know about it. Everything that happens today, everyone, including me, will be a stepping stone, a backdrop. 18-year-old 5th grade commander. On the way back, Chen Beiyuan, who was sitting in the limousine, closed his eyes, and his handsome face showed a slight arc as if he had anticipated everything that would happen in the school. To this woman Leng Ruobing, mere physical harm was nothing, and it would not even make her feel the slightest regret. On the contrary, mental harm is fatal. When she got used to enjoying the privileged life brought by Chen Beiyuan, once she was kicked out of the cauldron, she would fall from the high clouds, fall into the abyss, and be swallowed up by a little bit of darkness. The drastic changes before and after, as well as the transformation of human nature, are enough to make people feel overwhelmed. As the old saying goes, when you are in power, you will be surrounded by good people and no bad people. But once you lose power, you will probably have a profound insight into the cruelty of human nature. When you reach the status of Chen Beiyuan, you don't need a knife to kill people. There are many things that he does not need to take the initiative to do. Just a word, and there will be many people who know how to figure out the meaning to get things done neatly. Everything has just begun. Just when Chen Beiyuan returned to Donghua Chen's house. What happened at Donghua Academy was quickly spread through various channels. In an instant, the entire Yanjing city, and even all the top forces in the entire empire were alarmed. No one expected that this school competition would be such a big fuss. Even the ongoing Donghua graduate trial was suppressed. Originally, all the forces in the empire were focused on the Donghua graduate trial. After all, the average level of Donghua graduates this time is higher than that of previous years, and among them there are several school graduates who have reached the level of 5th grade War Master. On the surface, as long as these graduates pass the academy trial, they can get a letter of recommendation and enter the major departments of the empire. But in fact, when they were conducting trials, all their detailed information was put in front of the major forces, and the major departments of the empire had already begun to fight overtly and covertly to steal people. Imperial Military, Imperial Investigation Agency, Imperial Intelligence Department, Imperial Protection Department, Imperial Scientific Research Department, Imperial Logistics Department. As a result, just when the various forces began to fight overtly and secretly, and the quarrel was fierce, they suddenly received urgent information from their subordinates. What are you talking about? This school competition actually produced a high-level freshman named 5th grade War Master. Where did the 5th grade commander come from? Where did the 5th grade commander come from? Are you crazy or am I crazy? There are only a few 5th grade commanders among the graduates this time. Those freshmen have only been admitted to hospital for 5 years. Those who can break through to the 4th grade war commander are very rare. Where do you think the 5th grade war commander comes from? What does the intelligence department do? Chen Beiyuan? The young king of the Donghua Chen family who has the qualifications of the great emperor. That's not surprising. That's not surprising. So talented, so scary. As soon as he broke through, he suppressed a 6th grade war king with one punch. Although he was only a war king in a weakening stage, he still showed his invincibility. Could it be true that the prophecy made by the Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion back then was true? The man who had deduced luck for the 12-year-old Chen Beiyuan said that within 10 years, this boy would be able to defeat all the powerful men of his generation. At that time, I only thought that he might be deliberately flattering me, but now it seems that it is quite possible. Among the major forces in the Donghua Empire, some of the top monsters have broken through to the 6th grade War King level, but their age is nearly 1 round older than Chen Beiyuan. I originally thought that Chen Beiyuan would need to settle down for 10 years before he could catch up with them. Now it seems, TSK, it's those little guys' turn to be nervous. In an instant, the empire bosses from all major departments present could not help but sigh. Even the school graduates who were undergoing trials on the screen in front of them felt uncomfortable. There's nothing you can do about it. Comparing people with each other will make people angry. The gap between people is like this. Most of the school graduates with an average age of 28 are only 4th grade commanders, and only a few are 5th grade commanders. Compared with Chen Beiyuan, the 18-year-old 5th grade commander, he is indeed lackluster. At this moment, All the empire bosses present could not help but think of the special criticism given to Chen Beiyuan by the mysterious Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion 6 years ago. In less than 10 years, he can defeat all the strong men of the younger generation. Within 100 years, there was another 8th grade war emperor who suppressed the empire's luck. There is even a chance to attack the legendary realm of the god of war. At that time, this special criticism caused quite a commotion and a lot of controversy. Most people thought it was excessive flattery and even praised it. In this world with the body refining system, the lifespan of a cultivator is much longer than that of ordinary people on Blue Star in their previous lives. Practitioners under the age of 35 belong to the younger generation. In this case, Chen Beiyuan undoubtedly suffered a big loss. This means that after that special criticism appears, he will have to compete with those young monsters who are around older. It can be said that Chen Beiyuan, who was only 12 years old at the time, was almost under tremendous pressure, and almost all the attention of the younger generation of strong men was focused on him. In that situation, 12-year-old Chen Beiyuan actually made a shocking decision, blatantly chose to suppress the realm and maintain the cultivation level of a 4th grade warrior for 6 years. Over the past 6 years, rumors and cynicism have never ceased. But Chen Beiyuan never paid attention to it and just silently accumulated strength to amaze everyone one day. This is the fundamental reason why in the original work, Chen Beiyuan was tricked by Lin Shao, causing his cultivation to be completely ruined, and his personality changed drastically after being humiliated. At that time, the 12-year-old boy had been under high pressure that ordinary people could not imagine. Everyone saw the flowers on the bright side, but they never saw the young man's wordless silence. Everyone will only be amazed and attribute it to the talent. But they ignored the hardship and sweat behind it. Old Chen, you have given birth to a good son. He hid it so deeply and kept it silent for so long. He surprised everyone at once. Who is not envious of the 18-year-old 5th grade commander? If I had known earlier, I should have taken action earlier to take advantage of that bastard Lao Bai. Well, there's no way. That boy from Beiyuan has followed me since he was a child. Even in terms of cultivation, he has inherited the excellent genes of my old Chen family. He is low-key. At this moment, after sighing, all the empire bosses present congratulated a middle-aged man wearing a general's military uniform. The middle-aged man's face was somewhat similar to Chen Beiyuan's, but he looked more mature and dignified. This person is clearly the head of the Donghua Chen family and the father of Chen Beiyuan, Chen Zhiqing. Just when the bosses in the upper echelons of the empire were shocked, what happened at Donghua Academy was also driven by a certain force and began to spread to various parts of the empire. The younger generation of powerful men in the empire also learned about what happened at Donghua Academy through the forces behind them. In the secret realm, a wild and primitive ferocious beast, a primitive fight with fists and fists was taking place at this moment. No, more accurately, a one-sided massacre. The two sides fighting were a burly man with a bare upper body and a fierce animal skin hanging from his waist, and a violent behemoth who was as big as a hill, with silver hair all over his body and a thick tail. That violent behemoth is a 6th grade ferocious beast, Silver Behemoth. This is a powerful beast known for its physical strength, comparable to giants. However, at this moment, the Silver Behemoth, who was known for his physical strength, was crushed head-on. The burly man had a fierce aura all over his body. He did not use any fighting spirit. He just relied on his physical strength to forcefully press the 6th grade beast to the ground and rub it. Bronze fists as big as sandbags hit hard like raindrops, creating huge blood pits on Behemoth's body, exposing thick white bones and beating internal organs. Silver Behemoth's shrill howl resounded in the forest and gradually became weaker. Soon, the burly man who was covered in fierce blood seemed to have lost his fun and punched out directly. This powerful beast's head was blown open and the brains burst out, splattering onto the vicious ghost-like face. On the face. Without fighting, I thought it was so powerful. It seems that I can try to find Golden Behemoth in the future. I just don't know if this little secret realm has high-level products like Golden Behemoth. The burly man stood up slowly and shook his arms, making a loud crackling sound, soothing his muscles and bones, and his pores exuded hot steam, as if he had done a warm-up. The origin of the burly man is unusual. The direct heir of the Donghua Zhu family. People gave him the nickname, Madman Zhu. His physical body was more ferocious than a ferocious beast, as if he had been given a layer of human skin. This person is known to be crazy and likes to fight with others. He will either kill them or beat them half to death. As a result, no one in the entire Yanjing city was willing to fight with him. They all hid when they saw him and cursed his mother secretly. Even the top monsters are annoyed when they see him. So, the old man found a ferocious beast from the family's secret realm and went directly in to fight the ferocious beast. Suddenly, a piece of animal bone hanging under the animal skin around the burly man's waist emitted a faint light, as if conveying some message. The slightly boring and ferocious face paused momentarily, and his eyes seemed to shine with light. The next moment, thunderous laughter resounded through the forest, forming sound waves that spread in all directions. What a Chen Beiyuan, who has been dormant for 6 years and became a blockbuster. It's really a big surprise for me. I thought you had degenerated over the years. Secret Realm. The deep dark valley is accompanied by a permeating, hissing sound. I saw that deep in the valley bottom, there were densely packed and colorful poisonous snakes entangled with each other. Their mouths were constantly spraying venom, and they were converging towards a deep pool. I saw that in the deep pool, there seemed to be a Taoist figure sitting cross-legged, soaking in the poisonous pool, absorbing the strong toxicity bit by bit. Suddenly, the Taoist shadow trembled slightly, and a colorful light appeared on his body, as if conveying some important message. A cold snort sounded from the dark poisonous pool, and with terrifying pressure, it instantly crushed the densely packed poisonous snakes outside into minced meat. I just defeated an old and frail 6th grade war king. Do you really think he is the best of the younger generation? Although the owner of the cold snort showed an extremely disdainful attitude, but there was a hint of solemnity. This person comes from the Donghua Lin family and is the next heir to the Lin family. Extremely cold snowy mountains. A charming figure wearing a snow-white dress and a veil covering her peerless face was standing on the top of the snow-capped mountains. Not far away, a giant beast exuding terrifying pressure was lying on the ground, with an obedient look on its face, without the slightest hint of the ferocious appearance of a ferocious beast. The huge head would be stretched out in front of the charming figure and shake from time to time, like a pet begging to be masked **RB***. This picture has a huge impact on people. No one can connect the obedient, big pet in front of them with the ferocious and violent beast. When the jade-skinned hands caress the giant beast's plush head, it will make a roar of comfort, and its thick tail will flick. The charming figure raised her eyes slightly, looking through the veil at the ice and snow ahead, looking in the direction of the Donghua Empire, and the corners of her mouth seemed to curl up. The little guy back then has finally grown up. This charming figure comes from the Bai family of Donghua. In addition, there is a special identity. That is Chen Beiyuan's fiancé. Scenes similar to this are still happening one after another. And with what happened at Donghua Academy, it further fermented. The name Chen Beiyuan once again resounded throughout the Donghua Empire, attracting the attention of countless people. Donghua Empire, border front. Inside a majestic steel fortress, an old and heroic laughter suddenly sounded. The terrifying coercion of heaven and earth swept across the entire Great Wall in an instant. It alerted the millions of troops stationed here and spread out towards the outside of the Great Wall. In an instant, outside the border, all the ferocious beasts and alien tribes within a radius of 100 miles felt a sense of palpitations and fear, as if some disaster was about to befall. One is inside the Taran tribe station near the border front. A Taran chief, covered in golden armor and exuding the aura of the 7th grade war king, suddenly raised his head and looked at the sky. A look of horror instantly appeared on the ox's face. "What is that?" "Tear it apart." I saw that the gray clouds and mist in the sky had gathered together at some point, surging wildly, and gradually formed a huge old face. The dark and deep giant eyes drooped slightly, and the terrifying demonic light fell from the sky and enveloped the ground. Boom! In an instant, wherever the deep demonic giant eyes swept across the sky, all the ferocious beasts and aliens froze one after another, falling to the ground as if they had lost their souls and lost their breath. Okay, my Chen family Qilin really did not disappoint me. Today, the imperial border front expanded hundreds of miles to the outside world. Congratulations to my Chen family's Qilin son. Accompanied by the huge old face that covered the sky and the sun, it roared loudly and issued military orders. Millions of troops on the entire empire's border front were mobilized instantly, causing a chain reaction. Countless armies of cultivators in armor rode on horses containing the blood of ferocious beasts. They filed out of the city gate like a dark wave, cleaning the battlefield, searching for corpses of ferocious beasts, setting up alien camps, and planting imperial flags. Naturally, such a huge movement cannot be hidden from those 8th-grade ferocious beasts and powerful aliens. But when those pairs of eyes looked at the huge human face in the sky, they all showed fear. The base camp of the Donghuachen family is essentially on the northern border of the empire. The nearly 1 million kilometers of territory to the north of the empire belongs to the empire in name, but in fact it belongs to the Chen family. This is the fundamental reason why Mr. Chen, the 8th-grade war emperor of the Donghuachen family, will guard the border fronts. As long as the children of the Donghuachen family reach adulthood, they will join the army and go to the border fronts to protect their families and the country. Again, in the adult world, there is only profit. The Donghua Empire was essentially a joint-stock powerhouse, somewhat similar to an enhanced and magically modified version of the Tang Empire. The Donghua royal family is the largest family in the empire and occupies the largest territory. The remaining top families each have their own territories and domains. These people are at the top of the empire and control most of the resources. Under many top aristocratic families, there are also many wealthy families, as well as small and medium-sized families, all connected to each other one by one. And the royal family and aristocratic families who have enjoyed the greatest benefits naturally have to shoulder the greatest responsibilities. As Chen Beiyuan said, over the past hundreds of years of the Donghuachen family, countless Chen family children have died fighting for the empire, enough to dye the ground under their feet red. Chen Beiyuan didn't know whether other top aristocratic families had dandy children or whether they had done anything unscrupulous. However, the Donghuachen family definitely does not. When most of the children of the Chen family reach adulthood, they will be thrown to the border to fight for their lives with ferocious beasts and alien races. Those who stay in the hinterland of the empire are all the elites of the family. They are responsible for ensuring the fundamental interests of the family. No one will do anything stupid. Of course, as a top aristocratic family, the Donghuachen family also has its own family base in Yanjing City, occupying thousands of acres of land. Similar to this kind of thing, other aristocratic families are basically the same. Yanjing Chen family. Chen Beiyuan, who had just returned to his family, was not in a hurry to check the revenue from the system space. Instead, he solemnly turned to the one-armed old man next to him and thanked him. "Mr. Chen, I was in the school before. Please take action." "It's okay. The old man asked me to keep an eye on the young master." Of course, the old man won't let anything happen to the young master. Although the imperial family is behind Donghua Academy, they don't have the guts to kill the young master. The one-armed old man, with his white eyes, stood in front of him and thanked the young man. He paused for a moment and shook his head slightly. His voice was hoarse, like rusty blades colliding together, giving people a creepy feeling. This one-armed old man has an unusual origin. He worked as a personal guard for Chen Beiyuan's grandfather, Mr. Chen, for decades. His cultivation level has already reached the 7th grade war emperor. He has also practiced top-notch killing skills. He once served and he killed more than a dozen 7th grade beasts on the border battlefield, and countless 6th grade beasts and 5th grade beasts died in his hands. Unfortunately, in an accident, Mr. Chen was attacked by a ferocious beast. Not only was he seriously injured, but he also permanently lost one of his right arms. His strength was reduced, and he also developed a negative mentality. As a top aristocratic family in Donghua, the Chen family would naturally not lack the spirit treasure of heaven and earth, which can be reborn after severed limbs, but it was rejected by Mr. Chen. In the end, the old man was transferred back to the hinterland of the empire by Mr. Chen and once served as the guardian of the head of the Chen family, Chen Zhiqing. Later, after Chen Zhiqing grew up, he served as Chen Beiyuan's guardian. Once Chen Beiyuan's life is in crisis, the old man will take action. Don't look down on this old man just because he has lost a hand or is disabled. Even with only one hand left, as long as he can hold the knife, ordinary 7th grade beasts will be hacked to death by him. Before, at Donghua University, he was like the 7th grade war emperor like Vice Principal Liu Wenhui who had not experienced many life and death crises. Mr. Chen had no trouble hacking him to death. Even Chen Beiyuan and his son respect this old man with long experience and loyalty. After Mr. Chen shook his head, his tone suddenly paused, and then he added, "However, I noticed a creepy feeling at that time. It should be the mysterious principal of Donghua University. At that time, I was a little afraid of that person's intervention." Haha, don't worry, Mr. Chen, he doesn't dare. I am responsible for this matter, so I can naturally ask for an explanation. If that person dares to rely on the cultivation of the 8th grade war emperor to suppress me, the old man will not sit idly by. At that time, I am afraid that the old man will come to the door in person and ask for an explanation from the imperial family. People from Donghua's Chen family don't cause trouble and are not afraid of it. No big deal, just do it once. Even the royal family of the empire cannot humiliate my Chen family.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.